then your token rewards are used to unlock discounts on products and services in the marketplace. And that could be from anywhere from 10% to 50%. It just depends on what product's in there and who's selling it and what discount they're prepared to offer. Okay. So, and then it also unlocks rewards for the rest of the platform. So there'll be sections where you can play games, where you can just do quizzes. There's going to be a paid courses section, so you can learn things on here also. There'll also be testing where companies are looking for agents to sell products on their behalf. So there'll be courses that you can take to become an agent for either us or a third-party company. So there's lots of different ways for you to earn real-world cash. As we said, when you test these products and services, you get paid in fiat cash. Infinity token is no longer a payment system. It literally is just a token that unlocks rewards and unlocks portions of the website. Okay, so I'm just trying to make you guys understand that it's just gone into utility now.
However, for you to get paid those real world rewards with fiat, the actual token itself, the accumulation of tokens that you have now for the V1 and V2 members that we talk about in particular right now, because you'll be in a separate group of value. So we're locked in to that 10 VI uplift value each month. We're not going to get away from, obviously we want to make sure we honor that. Okay. Now, too fast here. So what happens is now legally, I can't just give it to you. This is how stupid the law is right now. I can't just give that to you. I have to make you do something for it. Otherwise, they will see it as you having a token and giving it value, and I'm giving you value off the token, the 10% from the value of the token, which no longer makes it a utility token. Do you understand? I really hope you do. So what we have to do basically is give you a small task, and it's a very small task. All you're going to do is log into your account each and every month, probably complete a little short survey or something like that. Okay, it won't be anything much. Then that now gives us the obviously legal parameters to now pay you for doing that. Okay, so and obviously we'll pay you the equivalent of what you'd be getting on your 10% UVI. All right, I really hope that makes sense, guys. So and then you can see how TestSell obviously merges into what we're trying to explain to you, how you actually get paid. Everyone else outside of the V1 and V2, yeah, they have a complete different system. Yeah, they would have to get businesses coming on that want to actually have products tested, and then they get paid from that. But yourselves, V1 and V2s, we're locking it into the way where you don't have to do that. You're just going to be testing, doing something for us, basically completing one of our surveys or testing one of our sites or something. So you'll be literally testing for Horizon and obviously getting paid the equivalent of that 10% UVI that you all wanted. We can keep that system going for 1 year, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into the other half of this. I'm going to come into Mr. Cadet now to get some questions coming back. And then after that, we're going to go into how the franchises tie in with this beautifully. And I'm sure for those who know what I'm talking about, you'll be heavily impressed, all right? So over to you, Mr. Cadet, if you're ready to do so.
Thank you. Yes, just answer a couple of questions directly. Okay, guys. So again, this has been based on John and Amanda's meeting that happened last Monday, and Steph and I's call on Thursday. So obviously, key questions about how do changes impact people, and what's changing. Some things were covered just now, so if it's repeated, it's not a problem. It's good for reinforcement. So I'll ask some questions to John and Amanda, and an interview style back and forth, just to make sure everyone's clear on it. And I'm sure I can just post these simple questions in the chat as well, so someone can pick it up and understand their current position.
Okay.
So, okay,
Mr.
guys.
Cadet,
So
before you start, just to let everybody know, this is still a work in progress. We are still putting the platform together and hashing out little tiny details. So it isn't a complete solution, because as we said, we had to act very quickly. So we'll answer as much as we possibly can for the knowledge we have right at this second. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Go ahead.
Okay. So question number one. Okay. So after the business wallet cooling off period, which is November 2026, for those that bought in September last year, I've got a value of £4,250 in my wallet. So 4250. Can I withdraw? as an example, yeah,
Yeah.
Can I withdraw 10%, i.e., can I withdraw £425?
Yes,
Yes,
you can,
that's
and
right.
you'll be paid that in cash, and that will be paid out from our Horizon account straight into your account.
Okay, brilliant. Because people were confused. 10% UVI, 10% of the UVI. So what we're saying is the total wallet value, which is the principal money plus any UVI, is one lump sum as a value, and 10% can be paid out. And I know, guys, you mentioned that it may be 1 month or every 2 months. Is that being decided? Whether it's every...
We haven't decided that just yet. That's one of the details we're working out through on the
Okay.
background. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
Well,
get you informed on that.
we want to keep it at the month, each month. So obviously, we want to hash that through first of all, and we're very
Yeah.
close to giving the answer to that one. So by the time we meet again, we'll know exactly what we're doing there. But there's a lot of information we've got to get for how the actual app works, and also
Sure.
the information that we get from Steve as well.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, question number 2. So can you explain who is in version 1?
Right. So that is everybody that's already got an Infinity token account and has tokens in a wallet. You are version 1 or version 2. So anybody who's signed up, has tokens in any of the wallets, has done all the KYC, you are V1 and V2. Anybody who hasn't at this point in time bought any tokens or anything like that, they are on the new V3 platform. They are not part of that. So literally anyone, to make sure, anyone with an account with tokens in it, that has already signed up until this point, you're
That's
V1
it.
and V2.
So what we're doing, everyone is going over to the V3 platform because that's the platform that's going to be operating everything. But what we're doing, we're ring fencing the V1 and V2 original deal, basically, to give you the equivalent of what we said. Okay, so you'll be ring fenced with the platform as a separate group, as a V1, V2 group.
So you'll have a little badge that says loyalist.
That's right.
Okay, when we see that badge, we recognize you in the back in our admin system as a V1 or a V2 person. And then what will happen is your wallet will act in a different way to everybody else's. When you first get into your wallet, and we're doing it in a way where you do not have to register again and do all the KYC, we're trying to get it to work so that you literally just click a button, you go through the terms and conditions of the new platform, and then you click agree, and that will allow you access to the new one. When you do open up your new account, what you will see is you will see a sum there. So whatever your 10% UVI was, you'll see that sum as the sum that you pay out each month. That's how you'll see a representation of that. So you have an idea of each month, you had £2,000 worth of tokens, £200 will be coming out to you each month for that year. Okay, so you'll see all of that stuff in your new wallet. The new people that sign up to V3 will not see any of that stuff. That's just for you guys.
Special you guys for all the support. I
Brilliant.
mean, many of you have already locked in with us, haven't you? I mean, it isn't like we have to, sort of play semantics here. I mean, it's part and parcel. You supported us all the way. Many of you bought shares, many of you. So obviously, there's no harm in us ring fencing. I think it's about 200 plus people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
happy, more than happy to do
Well,
that.
that question came about because Johnny, that question came about because people kept you referenced people accurately, but they kept thinking there's a difference. But what you said is they're virtually the same group. Basically, it's all the initial people.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. You see, essentially, V2s weren't supposed to be receiving a 10% UVI in cash.
That's right.
Yeah, remember? It was supposed to be in Infinity, so that they grew their Infinity tokens. But what we are doing is we're converting all of that into cash payouts now. So everybody, including the V2s, will be getting a cash payout. So it's actually a bonus for the V2s.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Good news. Good news.
So
Brilliant.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay. Okay. So number 3, when does the ability to withdraw to USD and then to cash stop?
Right. So that's already
You
stopped. That's
won't
never
need
going to
it.
happen.
If we
Right.
put, go ahead.
So what's happening is there is no USDT. There's no converting anything.
It's
What's
us
going to happen
cashing
is
you.
you're just going to get into the new platform and you're going to see a little figure that says, you'll be able to reference that you had 2,000 because your history will come over as well. So that's not lost. So you'll see £2,000 worth of tokens, and then you'll see that each month your payout in the payout section will say £200. That will be each month for a year. Okay. And then we'll revisit what's happening with the platform. We're saying in a year, but if these people regulate everything and we're able to flip back into the original format of the token or something close to that, then we'll let you know at that point in time. But the intention is for a year, you will log into this new platform, and you'll maybe have to, one of the tasks will be that you log in once a month, that you maybe do one of our little surveys or something, very small little things that justifies why we're paying you out on the new system these sums of money. Okay, so how we're justifying it is that you guys are our like boss testers, and that's exactly what you have been. You guys have been for the last how much months been testing all of our platforms, so you're like our top tier testers, and that's why you have.
That's right.
Yeah.
You actually qualified already. So we're not just sort of like saying, hey, this solves the problem for us. No, it actually solves the problem overall, because anything we put out there needs testing and constant testing, because everything needs to be updated. It doesn't take a fool to see how much times your laptop has updated over the last year. Everything's updated AI wise, and it will continue to do so. Yeah. So we need continuous testing, and obviously there will always be some kind of rewards in for this group to do that. Our special group, that's what I would say. The ones we're really going to roll with. Yeah, I'll let Mr. Cadet finish answering his questions, and because I want, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, no, good. Okay. Question 4. So, do all the current wallets unlock after 27 months?
Right, so that's the property wallet. So the property wallets, anybody with a you took no, they said that all of that old system, that whole 27-month unlock thing, all of that's gone. This token is no longer the old version. We need to get that. It's more a utility token that acts as a key to unlock things like discounts and access to certain parts of the website. Yeah.
Okay. So anyone that's on the original Arena Views property programs, everything stays the same. Doesn't matter. It stays the same. The deal was, at the end of it, some people bought the obviously paid a deposit for the home and obviously bought tokens. So those tokens we said would accumulate in value over a certain period of time and pay for your property. We're not going back from that. Yeah. And we're keeping that. So if you locked in with that, that's what it will be. All right. So obviously there's not a huge amount of people that's doing that anyway. So therefore, that's easy to manage and honor. All right. So anyone that's obviously paying for their apartments, everything stays exactly the same as what we said. Nothing changes there whatsoever. Only thing that has changed here is just the way the token is used. We've just taken the token out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, John, so would you say then there will be a reduced number of wallets available?
Right. So there are no more wallets in that same way. There are no more wallets. The token doesn't sit in a wallet and grow like that. What it acts as like a point system. Let's look at a loyalty point system. So you'll be able to see how many infinity you have, but not as the fact of they're in a wallet that it has a value. It allows you to say, for instance, it costs one token to unlock discounts in the marketplace this month. Then all that will happen is when you go into the marketplace and you want to click on get the discount, then it will take one of those tokens from your account. Yeah, and that token will be burnt, and that's the end of it. So you're not building up tokens in the way that you would in the way that we were doing it before, because they have a value. You're just building them up because they unlock things.
So basically, in a nutshell, Mr. Goodman, I would say the token has value, but it has value to unlock value. Yeah. So if something costs you £100, you can get it for 10% off. You've now saved yourself £10. So that means that token had a value of £10 in that respect, because that's what somebody swapped the discount for it for. We're allowed to do that legally. So imagine if you're going to go and buy a cooker, a new bed, items that cost over £1,000, and these kind of things we'll have on the Infinity platform from all the companies that are testing their products, especially as well, all new innovative stuff, and obviously general people on the platform as well that's just selling their goods and services. So each time we're getting you're getting a discount from anything you purchase. So it has value, but just in a different way. Yeah,
sure. So everyone will have one account, and like you say, the more tokens, a greater ability to unlock more rewards, more discounts.
That's correct. And as we go,
we'll give them a second, guys. Steph, let me know if they disappear.
Have we dropped out again?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, there
Yeah,
we go.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So,
Let's rewind on for about a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
okay,
So I want everybody to just understand this as well, that when you're earning, if you decide as well that you want to, do testing for other companies and so forth, every time you're earning tokens, they don't go onto the value of the tokens that you have now. That is locked. Yeah. So if you bought to date, £2,000 worth, £1,000 worth, a couple £100 worth, that is locked. That's what your 10% would be on all the time. The new tokens that will due will be on the utility side of things. So you can use it for discounts, but it won't go to add on to what you already have, in hopes to increase the amount of obviously rewards coming out to you, 10% increasing. So that will be locked in place. I can go over that again more slowly if needed.
so basically the value of your 10%
Yeah.
that we carry over stays at that value for a year. It won't increase because you've gone into the testing side and you're increasing tokens. That 10% UVI will not increase by using the tokens, okay? So,
Right. Brilliant.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, where was I? 6, I believe. Okay. Here's an easy one. The most recent testing rewards have not been allocated yet. But when can we expect to get those rewards? And will it be in the V3 platform format or will it be on V2?
right, so what will happen is this, we're going to honor everything. So for everybody that took part in the testing, if your tokens were not put over, that will end up being your 10% UVI. So even if you're not seeing it right now, by the time we get to moving you over, all of that mathematics will have been calculated. So for instance, if you're seeing £2,500 worth of tokens, but then you bought 500 during the testing, then when we move it over, you'll be seeing the 10% equivalent of 3,000. Okay, so everything will be accumulated and added up, including those 2,000% prize draw winners as well. All of that will be all reconciled by the time.
And that's a lot of work for us, guys. So we don't obviously you can see now why, obviously we're very, very, very busy, but obviously we want to honor what we say.
So you might not, don't worry if you don't see them in there just now, guys, because we are doing a lot of work to transition from V2 to V3. Okay, so, but just rest assured it will be there when we moved over.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
and it's not cheap. Yeah. So well, more superior. We proper regulations. That is absolutely ridiculous because it scares the hell out of the banks. It really, really does. They know that will be a real change that they can't come back from. That's a Pandora's box for them. So just remember, we're in the boxing ring, guys. Yeah, we're fighting against, all these regulations that are just totally and utterly unfair. You would have thought that anyone would have thought that if you're releasing a token that now is backed by, every time you buy a token, a piece of that money is going into buying land and property and so forth, and backing the token. You would have thought the governments would be jumping head over heels to say that's brilliant, that's what we want, tokens that can actually sustain itself, but instead they don't want a challenge, and that's what the issue is. So we're just moving away from that challenge, letting the market settle down, let the regulations and the stable regulations come out, then whatever the road we have going through there, guys, how inventive we are. Whatever road that there is that we can take advantage of, we will take advantage of it. One person said to me, my ex-partner said to me, there's one thing about otherwise, how will they earn money? The hierarchy I'm talking, those loopholes we explore as well, and obviously get around it in the same way. We'll obviously be bringing you new types of products and services as the world evolves as well. And so therefore, you're in good hands. This is far more superior because it's direct. It's straight from your cash, direct straight into properties. And I'm going to explain the plan I have there. I'm not sure if Mr. Cadet finished answering all these
I've got
questions.
a few more, guys. Got a few more.
Okay, so after that,
Yeah.
no
right.
problem.
Can you explain? So, is there a way that the Infinity tokens in the V3 model helps someone buy a franchise as well as receive receiving that passive income over the next year. So this speaks to the fact that you're, allowing people to obviously get that cash over the next year. But how are they able to combine it with a franchise that you presented last
year? Yeah, that's exactly what I was waiting for you to finish the question, is it? So I could actually explain that part in detail.
Okay.
So I could do that from now.
We can defer
Basically,
it. Okay.
The PDF I sent you, it's only a 2-page PDF, but it just gives a visual that hopefully people will remember. If you could show that, don't know if
John,
you can
did you put it to the? Just checking for it now. I didn't find it.
No, I didn't. No, not in Jams. In the to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. But I start explaining anyway while you pull that up. So basically, the whole idea of why everyone's here is not to hear that, oh, great, you got a token that works in a certain way that's going to make us, obviously, the kind of profits we want over a period of time. And then here, well, actually, the token has to change now. So, the amplification of that, of your finances will now obviously cease. Obviously, that's ridiculous. We don't do that here. Yeah, we're Horizon. We're better than that. So what we've done basically, we've created a whole franchise system, which we're doing anyway, but we've interlocked it in there. So this will be 2 groups. You'll have 2 groups for this franchise model. One will be the V1 and V2. Okay, that's everyone in that group all has access to this first franchise model. Those are going to be the franchise restaurants and entertainment facilities that we build for ourselves. This isn't anyone coming in and we're building it for them. This is what we build for ourselves with everything that's coming in from obviously what we're doing from our services and so forth, and obviously from you guys that obviously want to put those profits that are dripping out for you back into. So all that will be accumulated and continually keep on building restaurant after restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. So therefore, whilst you're in that, that team, basically, I'm going to call it the team. Basically, every year, we're going to be adding at least another 5, 10, maybe even 20 extra franchises on as we go along, just franchise after franchise, because what's happening, we have the private sector that's coming to us, or private owners that want to own their own franchise, nothing to do with what we're doing with the V1 or V2. That's just their own thing. They want to buy their own or have their own restaurant with their own apartment on top, run the restaurant, or get someone to run it for them. That's up to them. They can still do that. That will be aside from the V1 and V2s. Although if you are in V1 and V2, you can still do that, obviously, if that's what you want to do, yeah? But the point is that we want to lock you all into a system that's continually churning out money, and obviously will continue to churn out money as more and more branches are developed and built. So we're thinking of a model where any profits we earn, we do it on a quarterly basis, per quarter, yeah? 50% of that net profits will be split equally between everyone on the V1 and V2 that wants to take part in this, all right? So therefore now, you're always getting, every quarter, there's always something there that you could either withdraw or put back into obviously building more franchises for as long as you want. But the more you guys do that, is the more franchises we earn, the less chance of failure, because obviously not every branch is going to fail all at once. Even if there was a particular, a problem in one particular area, like a flooding or maybe even a war of some kind, who knows? It doesn't affect everything. So therefore, it's much more safe. It's a real world asset as well. So it's something you can touch, hold, and feel. And that is a lot more safer than anything you can have right now. Gold would be great, but if you could explain to me how you can transport gold through an airport, I'll be even more great about it. Which basically means that you will probably have to use the alternative of investing in gold, but through a company that is storing it for you. And you don't know what gold prices are going to do, the terms and conditions of that company. It's good option, but to explore it. But once again, can you feel it? Is it digital on a screen again, or is it tangible assets in your hand? Ours is. You can come here and feel it. You can see what the restaurant's doing, how it's making money. From the marketing plan or campaign keeps on going on, we'll get more and more people using those restaurants, adapting it into other franchise models as well as we go. It's a moving market. It's also COVID proof in the respect that the food, obviously being through COVID ourselves, you are still allowed to run a restaurant and so forth, so long as obviously you have the protocols in place of some distancing and so forth. No restaurant was locked down as long as they follow those protocols. Obviously, having different types of entertainment venues, shops and stores as well, especially the shops and stores, those will be always open as well during COVID, and because people need to go and buy their food, once again, to the regulations. So it's a proven model, because we're not just selling Delion's hot food as a as a McDonald's style restaurant, you know, corporate restaurant franchise, but we'd also be selling it into shops and stores as well. So in other words, the burgers frozen will be, you can buy them from the local shops and stores, and any other thing that we do, including any sauces that we develop and so forth. Just like you can buy Nando's sauce in the supermarket, same thing, same kind of model. These guys have got it right. Why invent the wheel? Let's just follow what these guys have done and be making billions out of it each year. We tweak it because, once again, you as a franchise owner can go into that restaurant and always get discounts. So if you're in Gambia a lot, you know, you can always dine there and still get extra discounts as well. And also every quarter, you know, receive some income from that. So this is what we can do as a V1 and V2 together to keep that money amplifying. So every month you're not just taking it and just withdrawing it and say, well, what do I do with this now? The whole idea was for me to amplify this money. How can I keep it growing? This is the perfect way of keep it growing. I'll let Amanda say a few more words on that.
Yeah, I think what it is, guys, is that one of the really good reasons for this franchise is that it gets us into the food sector. Now we can all see what's going on in the food sector around the world, and not just that, the water sector as well. So these are things that we need to have our little mittens in, just because if you're in there and you already have something established, it's easier to adapt to changes. So, for instance, we know that farmers are feeling the pinch of governments not allowing them to actually farm. All of this sort of stuff is what is happening around the world. And so the food system is being highly controlled by tech companies yet again. So we have to be able to control a sector of the food market where we know we can provide, you know, decent food. So that's a really good way for us to get into it. It's also brilliant because it's assets, it's real world assets that's not regulated by anybody really. It has its rules and its regulations, but it's a lot more simple than getting involved in crypto.
Sorry guys, but
finish the
I'm
regulations.
going to get kind of a bit serious with this conversation as well, because you know you can't always just have a community hat on. I've got to speak like a business person sometimes, and I'm telling you straight, yeah, this world don't look good. It doesn't look good, guys. Yeah, what I see going on around the world here is just all pointing to world war. You know, I cannot see us moving. Even them saying that they want a one world currency by 2030. How are you going to do that without a war first? That will give the reason to bring in a one world currency. We got to move logically and with our heads screwed on and look at the world. It's not always about our own little circles. We've got to look outside of that and say, what's it going to be like for everyone? And, you know, and what I see here right now, I see depopulation programs going on, people dropping dead like all over, you know, especially after COVID, false figures from COVID. So you can see, what's his name, Fauci out now, you know, under scrutiny for all the stuff that he's done, saying that, you know, taking the COVID vaccine was great for pregnant women, and it was only 12%, he said, that was affected, when really it was more 80% that was affected. This is the world we're in. Let's just get serious. Yeah, you need proper strong people that can guide you through this. Yeah, I come on this call with all the smiling and laughing and joking, but I'm a businessman first and foremost. Trust you me, I don't laugh and joke all the time. I get stuff done. Yeah, and I tell you something, we need to get this done fast, because I can see what's happening with robotics. I can see how they're coming in. They're going to take all the jobs. What are you going to invest in now? It's only going to be robotic companies that you can invest in. And if you haven't started from the beginning, that investment won't give you much yield later on. You have to do it from the start. So therefore, the only thing that would have any value in this world, other than obviously the government giving you their measly handouts with conditions on it that you can't maybe travel out your 15-minute city, or how much time you can go on holiday, or all this nonsense that will be attached to what they're giving you as social credits. The only thing you will have to get you out of that is if you have an asset that is earning you money. This is serious. Yeah, you need something that you can get money, you can get your hands on, that ain't coming from the government. It's coming from something you've invested in. That's why we're all here. So it doesn't matter where you know, the investment comes from, long as it's a viable plan and it works, and we do it as a community. We're always going to change. Let me ask you something. How much companies from the 60s still operate today? How much companies from the 70s still operate today? How much companies from the 80s still operate today? In other words, you're seeing change, right? Every decade or so, the companies change their format and they move on. Any community that's talking about staying stagnant and staying still and not moving on with natural change, yeah, is a fool. They will always fail. And that's why a lot of them do fail. You have to be inventive. You have to take advantage of every situation that comes available to you. And this is a situation. We cannot build a chain of franchise like this as easy as we can in out here, as we can, obviously, you know, in the West, as easy as we can out here. The labor force is dirt cheap, as you all know. The want for people coming back here to live within these environments by the millions is essential. They need something to do. They need something to invest in, whether it's a restaurant that they're going to run themselves or one they can invest in and get the staff. As you know, it's very cost effective to get staff to now keep that all important income coming in. We do all the advertising. Don't have to get involved with all that. Obviously, we'll be advertising all over Gambian TV, all over the radios every day. So you know that your place will be heavily advertised and obviously will attract a lot of people. We'll change and adjust the menus according to customer feedback. Yeah, we're not stupid. We all know how to do that. We listen to what the customers are saying. If they want to add a thing or two, we'll do that. It might just be a more spicier burger. It's just little things like that. We listen to that feedback and we can keep on growing and keep on, more importantly, you know, opening restaurant after restaurant after restaurant, Gambia to Ghana, you know, to Senegal, anywhere we can. And then obviously branch our way into the West. We want the USA, we want places like the UK and so forth. This is serious. Yeah, it's not a game anymore. This is our grandchildren we're talking about that's going to be living, you know, with any mistakes we make today. I'm not prepared to let my grandchildren live like that. And anyone that's in our community, trust you me, I'm not going to let them, you know, obviously live like that also. So this works, it's viable, and I recommend you all keep, when the money is dripping out to you, make sure, take what you need, don't get me wrong, but also make sure you've got enough staying in the pot to keep that value increasing. Because if we suddenly introduce the tokens again in a way that's similar to how we had it, you're laughing. Do you know what I mean? If, for instance, we keep it as a utility token and we don't increase it in the way that we say, you've got now the franchise models, you know, pumping out money to you every single quarter.
So you're still laughing.
That, and which means checkmate, you're in good hands. And as you can see, we're already building. Being out here a year plus and a half, trust you me, that must show credibility to say we're gonna, you know, carry on with that road. So sorry to speak to everyone like that, but seriously, sometimes, guys, I just need everyone to just get it, you know, and it's not always the political, or say politically correct way of saying things, but if you're not on this or something like this, you're screwed. It's plain and simple as that. The world is in a serious place right now, and it doesn't take far further to look than just YouTube to see it. Look what they're doing to all the farms. They want everyone to go into the supermarket eating terrible food. Then what's going to be in the supermarkets? Robots serving you. You think all those supermarket jobs are going to be there soon? So the world full of robots around you, they estimate, you know, by 2030 or 40 or something like 2030 something, robots will outnumber us 100 to 1. 100 robots to 1 humans. What do you think the world's going to look like at that stage? What business can you start that a robot hasn't done before, you know, 100 times better and faster? You will need your investments that you make today to carry you through tomorrow. It has to be something you build that's continuous and doesn't stop, because one thing that doesn't stop, everyone needs to eat.
It's always been that way, but now it's never been more prevalent that we actually look at that. It has always been, you eat tomorrow from the investments you make today. You plant a seed of corn today, tomorrow you can have a field of corn that would feed your family entirely for the rest of your lives if you nurture the corn, yeah, but you plant once, yeah. So that's what we're saying, guys. We need to get our houses in order, and to do that, you need to have your funds as much as possible. I mean, we know there are people on the platform who think they built up their thing just to be able to withdraw a certain amount every month. Why would you do that? That's a silly way to use this platform. It was a silly way to have used Infinity, because when you take it off of somewhere that was making it grow by 10%, where are you putting that? When you take it out and put it in the bank account or whatever, you've just stunted the growth. You've just cut off your lifeline.
Killed it.
Yeah, you actually killed it. So it literally is, guys, when we're doing things like this, it isn't because, you know, we've got some underhanded, it's because we understand the importance of making your money grow right now and trying to use the same money over and over again and letting it recycle and grow without you having to put in extras. That is what we're trying to create here. And these are franchise models, guys. It's definitely the way to go. It's a quick way of us popping up buildings all around the place, and especially, as I said, in the food sector. Not only that, but in places like the Gambia, it will be very new. There are no playgrounds here for children. I haven't seen one. You might see the odd one in a hotel somewhere, but how many of the local children get to go into a hotel?
Look, these restaurants are dropping, it's like dropping little bits of heaven
Yeah.
down in certain areas that really need somewhere to go, that they could say, hey, I feel like I'm somewhere they can take the Instagram photos behind and stuff, even just that purpose alone, just somewhere for the youth to gather. But as you can see, what Mr. Cadet's got on the screen here, writing's a bit too small for me, Mr. Cadet, because obviously we have to be using the phone to get the same thing. So if you could just read it out for us. So it's saying
Okay.
basically, let's turn it this way.
So the V1 and V2 loyalists. Okay.
Yeah, so they'll all be loyalists.
Yeah.
And as it says, 50%.
Right,
John,
so
can you
50% of our... Do you want me to
So-
read it, Mr. Cadet?
No,
So
I
these
can
are-
read it, but can you explain the F1 to F9?
That's right. So that'd be franchise 1 to franchise 9, but obviously
Okay.
that carries on. So we're showing you'll be making money from franchise 1, and as we build and build and build, it will just
Right.
keep on increasing because we're having more franchises,
Okay.
which keeps the whole business model safe as well. Because not only have you got the franchises that are worth something individually, you have a corporate company. Do you know the amount of finances we can raise on that, guys? It's serious money we're talking about. I mean, you end up with like 100 branches, 200 branches. We're talking now, you can talk. You can now raise finances in much more faster ways to now erect, loads more restaurants. So let me give you an example. I'll slow down a bit. Let me give you an example. V1 and V2, remember, that's our own pot of people. That's not others coming to us for us to build them a franchise or franchise them a franchise, all right? That's just what we're talking about, the ones we're talking to here now, and anyone in V1 and V2. So we start off by building, but once we get to like 10, 15, 20 restaurants, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to happen is that I can now go and get funding to now open maybe 30 more one time. Do you know what I mean? Because they can see it's making money. They can see it will sustain the loan back. Therefore, now it's not just like, you're popping these restaurants up one by one slowly. They can come in batches. Yeah. And then if you have the opportunity as well, where you find an exchange of another fast food restaurant, maybe like in the UK or the USA, that are selling up, you can just now buy their branches out one go. But you do all that stuff with finances. Yeah, you don't do them with the core money. It's ridiculous because you always keep your core money there. The loans that you take will pay back the loan. Yeah, from the actual franchises themselves. That's no problem because obviously that's set in stone. But you don't want to deplete your reserves. It's your reserves that they look at to see, can we give you more loans? And that's how you do it. So we can be propping up a lot more branches than just, like I said, the one by one, in our V1 and V2 group. This is a very, very good model, guys. And like I said, food is something that will never be a commodity that's not needed.
The other section that we can add into these is that we've got a playground for children, young children, but we can also, if we get a bit large enough plot of land, zone it off where teenagers, school age children can come and get something to eat, and we have Wi-Fi connectivity and stuff for them. So just like for the moment now, where we have issues with the Wi-Fi and the electrics, there's somewhere that they can come that's well lit, has electricity, has Wi-Fi access, and they can get something to eat so they can continue their studies. That was one of the major things that's been one of the major issues that these youths have been having since these blackouts we've been having. So it solved a lot of issues that people in Africa have on a daily basis. Just a simple restaurant can really make some differences in a lot of people's lives.
And remember, these blackouts aren't like exclusive to Gambia.
No.
It's Ghana, it's Nigeria, and when you go to the other countries, it's even worse. So, this is a model for everywhere, basically, that we can put here. Because you'll always find affluent people in certain countries, but not everyone is affluent. But you'll have enough for them that's focused into one restaurant. We know it's a veggie restaurant. We know that gives us a disadvantage. If you're selling meat, there's a lot more people eat meat. But the point is, I can't sell that stuff to people. And first of all, it's not morally correct in my view. Sorry, guys, for me eating. I'm not trying to offend you, but I just will not sell that. What I will do is show you the benefits of eating the foods that we're saying, and it's clearly, factually, the right way to go. So I rather do that to improve people's health out here than to decrease their health just because I want to earn a buck or two. It's not right. They're already malnourished, a lot of them out here. You add that into the mix, it could be. If I add a KFC, anyone adds a KFC out in Africa, in Gambia right now, will seriously damage the health of people out here because they're so badly malnourished already, going to hospital with
High blood pressure.
diabetes and all sorts. If we introduce that, so I don't want to be any part of that. But what we can do is say to people, continue to eat your meat if that's what you want to do, but know as a human and an adult that's got brains, sometimes take a break from it. So your stomach can obviously, get rid of it, absorb it properly, get rid of it properly before you just, keep eating it every day. It will kill you. And I know that. So I can't sell that. Unfortunately, it goes against my morals. But the restaurants, Delion restaurants, as you can see, there's a huge rise in vegan foods, veggie foods. So when we say veggie, we will be serving eggs and cheese. That's the only two things that we will add in that's not vegan. But the point is that that's acceptable to me. Yeah, when you talk about going into actually eating the actual chicken itself and so forth, when I know a lot of it's coming from printers, I can't do that morally. So yeah, but I think we've got a great model. I think we can explain the benefits of eating obviously that way, and obviously get more people on board as we go along.
Well, what's really cool about it, guys, is the locations. So obviously we've been putting a lot of effort into choosing the locations of these restaurants. But for instance, if we did put it near to a university or a college of some sort, then you make that actual franchise more friendly for teenagers and young people. So you put the Wi-Fi, you maybe put some tablets in a station along where they can, sit down at a table and use one of our devices even. That is a key seller that all the other restaurants won't have. So we will become the go-to place. If there's a hospital nearby, we sell the healthy benefits of it, because out here, when someone's in hospital, there's no like someone that comes around at lunchtime and brings you hospital meals. The family have to bring food in for the patients. The same thing of prisoners. When they're in prison, there is no food served to prisoners. Family have to bring prisoners food. So we can strategically place Delion's, I don't say place it next to the prison, but if you did,
now come on, guys. Now come on, guys.
It's a source of food for prisoners.
Come on, who thinks of that? Only Mariah's a good thinker, I'm telling you. But it's just factual. Because when that prisoner's saying, yeah, bring me some food, and you can think of a nice, lovely, hot, Delion falafel sandwich and cheese and fries and sweet potato fries and a lovely drink, do you think he's gonna say, bring me a aluminium pot of food, which they do, walk around probably half cold and say, what they're going to ask for.
So we can put one right next to the prison so they can get them something hot, hand it into the prison and they're good to go. So these are the things. Also, all the prison wardens, all the staff there, they've got somewhere decent to eat. So there's lots of different ways. There's also destinations in a lot of these places. So for instance, over here we have Kunta Kinte Island, where when you go there isn't really anything to eat. And it's one of the trips that most tourists make when they come here. And so you pop up a Delion's there. When they get there, they can have something to eat and then head home again. So there's lots of locations, and you'll find that those locations are all over Africa, near waterfalls, all of these kind of things.
I think the main benefits, guys, is this. When I'm driving from like Jabang, to Sifo, there is not one place, I kid you not one place I would sit down and eat. And I thought, no, that has to change. There's room for this. And I know that people are affluent enough, because when I go to the city, I can see how much of them are there spending the kind of monies that, that's affordable to them, which obviously can sustain what we're doing. We just got to move those people, because they all travel around, but they all drive a long way to get to maybe Senegambia or so forth to have something to eat. And really, if it's closer to where they are, they will go there instead. So they won't be afraid of those long journeys anymore, because they know before they get back, they can stop off and have a little meal, a little sit down, a little rest, a little conversation, then get back in the car and come down. There's nothing like that out here. It's like bringing Superman onto Earth. Yeah, it will go down well. It is going down well. I've shown this to quite a few councillors now, and they can't wait for us to implement that because they know that it would increase the health benefits of the nation as well. Because when they go to, I tell you what their takeaway is, they will go to a local shop and they will go in there and ask for a bread roll, and the shopkeeper will cut it open. Remember, this bread roll's normally got sort of flies over it and stuff. So bread roll with fly poo all over it, cut open, and then obviously a butter, butter in it. And sometimes they use just mayonnaise. That is the fast food. Come on.
For the
locals, for the absolute locals, we're talking. Not obviously the middle class. I'm talking about from the lower end. I don't like saying things like low end, but just so you can get what I mean. For the less affluent, ones. But therefore, we're not adding much on when we're talking about the same bread roll, but obviously more sanitized, and obviously, with more fillings inside of it, like the falafel burgers, more vegetables, more so forth, whatever they ask for, and obviously more healthy drinks as well. So it's something that they can probably take the family to enjoy maybe once a month, but because it's the whole town doing it and there's nowhere else to go, all those people will be funneled into that area. So we can dot them in and around from places like that, local areas, and also places like what Man just said, prominent tourist spots. So the world's our oyster, really, and we'll adopt the same model in Ghana.
That's right. And then we might even look at petrol stations out here. The petrol stations don't have anything like that. So we may be able to pop up little kiosk ones where you can grab a quick wrap or something while you're getting a petrol filled up, because there isn't anything really hot. You might be able to get a coffee in some of them. In fact, very random. So yeah, there's a lot of scope for this model, guys.
So come back to the summary. What we do highly recommend is when you come time to withdrawals, and obviously that starts from November, think about how much you want to take out, if any at all, or how much you want to leave in, obviously to go into this model, and obviously still amplifying what's coming up, being dripped out to you even further. So that's kind of what you'd have a choice of doing, and it'd be totally up to you.
Perfect. Yeah. So I hope that answered the question, Mr. Cadet.
Yeah, and then some. The guys on the call know you guys. Will there be because obviously it's obviously a massive investment. It's a great investment. Sorry. Would there be scenarios you can draw up to give people examples of how you can add value to their portfolio?
Yes, we're going to be doing it on Thursday.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be doing it on Thursday on your call, Mr. Cadet. So that way we can get another call in before obviously, so make people understand as much as possible. We just wanted some figures out here, build costs and so forth, and which I've got to hand now. And obviously the business plan, so everyone can understand that we understand what we're doing, is important as well. So I want to present it properly. These two pictures were just to basically be just the basics of obviously what these venues are going to be looking like, these restaurants going to be looking like, and the benefits. So on this last picture here, as you can see, you can apply for a franchise with a roof terrace purely, that people can go up there, have their meal up there, maybe have a party up there, or you can actually have your own, 2 or 3 bedroom apartment up there where you can now live up there and obviously run the restaurant below, bit like a pub landlord type version. So it's totally up to you. But at the end of the day, we're going to be building in 2 clubs. One club is the V1 and V2 club. That's just all of us that's like on this call now, any token holders that exist right now. Everybody else after this will not be able to get this offer in that way. They won't be able to come into this club. We won't be adding any more other than the 200 plus that we got here right now. So don't think as we're growing more members, so therefore the money's spreading out more, so you're getting less. No, that is it. We're starting with that. So if you guys put everything in, then obviously we can build faster. If you take time and take out more, then obviously we build slower. But regardless, it's always going up. Yeah.
John, on this point, the 50% of Delion's total net profits, is this Delion's globally, wherever it's placed?
No, wherever the V1 and V2 has built anywhere in the world, long as it's this club. So in other words, you have 2 clubs. Like I said, one is if someone comes to me and say, "Hey John, can I get one of your franchises?" No problem, sir. Of course you can. They are not are they token holders from now, V1 or V2? No, they will not be getting this deal. They won't be able to come into this club to earn from it. It's locked. Yeah. So anyone outside of that, obviously they would have a completely different model. But V1, V2, if we build in Spain, if we build on the moon, you're getting paid. Put it that way.
Well, guys, I've got a couple more questions. I know we'll do a dedicated session for this. It definitely needs that. But I'll ask a couple more questions, then we can steer to, you know, ask the audience to let other guys get involved as well. But you have covered it in your sort of answer so far. So question was, can tokens be used to get a discount on a property? Obviously, everyone here is V1, V2, but obviously people are buying properties through Horizon anyway. So V3 can obviously acquire tokens and get discounts on properties as well. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
100%.
So what will happen is those properties will be placed into the marketplace. So we have a property section and they'll be able to unlock discounts with tokens. So yes.
Perfect. Okay. Again, you cover this. V3. Are rewards for testing tasks done and finished, they get paid in tokens or cash, or is there an option?
No,
No
it's all cash. There are no
Yeah.
token payouts anymore. Remember, the tokens don't really have that
If we pay you in
value.
tokens, we'll be considered a security. That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
We
so
don't do that model.
all the rewards are paid out in cash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, so I think it's important just for everyone to know that part of the war as well that's going on in the crypto world is defining what a token is or a coin is. Is it a security, you know, like an investment is security, or is it a commodity,
Commodity.
like you're buying a painting, you know? And they haven't defined that. Not even that they can define after almost 20 years, you know. It's ridiculous holding everybody up, including now the stock exchange, and obviously stopping them, blocking them from paying that $39 trillion debt. So they gotta release soon what the vision is.
What the token is. I mean, the way I see it is this, guys. They let this sector grow this big because this is exactly what they've done in the dot-com era. But this time they let it ride a lot longer. So because there's much more to regulate. The dot-com era was very different because people still had to work. You had to build a website. So it was still part of a business transaction. This is people creating their own money. So this kind of regulation was on a different level. They've let it grow this big while they waited, watched what the market was doing. Then they built out software. Yeah, so all this time that they've been quiet, they were building out systems in the background so that when they do take over, it's a clean takeover. So that's what we're seeing right now. Regulation for this stuff could have come in a long time ago, but they didn't want that to happen. So in the time of them building out software, what they were doing was becoming investors in these tokens, even though we were telling everybody it's a scam, don't get involved, buying it up and then rug pulling. So making lots of money on the way up. Donald Trump just finished making what 1.8 billion, 1.4 billion in profits from crypto, right? So this is what I'm saying. So we have to look at what they're doing, how they're making their money, and jump on it. And guys, I'm telling you, what we're telling you now is the way to do it. Yeah. So this is how they work, and we have to recognize that. So now we're reacting to what their new regulations are, and to react to that in the proper way. Let's check out of that side of things for the moment, so we don't have beady eyes on us while we just grow. Yes.
And to just speak a little bit further, just before we take questions, guys, it won't be much longer. Speak about the test cell site that we've got. Like I said, normally you get these massive test sites, yeah. That some of them have how much, 1 million plus people, 6 million people. They're huge. So it's definitely a market that's needed because there's always new products coming into the market that need tested before it goes out to the real world. So therefore, it's a forever moving train. Once again, just like food, there's always new products. Some of them will be real world products that you'll have to test from home. Some of them will just be apps, surveys, questionnaires, all different types of things. Yeah. So in that respect, we know that basically companies need to do market research, test their products and do market research. But I found that none of them that we saw out there, we could miss one or two, but they're definitely the main ones out there, are not offering the sales part of the service. So it's like, well, hold on, we can test it and then sell it and then earn commission off selling it. Why not? So therefore, we introduce that to it. So now that they can actually put their products on the Infinity platform after we finish testing it. So we can sell it, which will ensure that the Infinity platform will always have up-to-date products on there, forward-moving products on there, innovative products on there that would attract others to advertise their products on there as well. That's obviously, from around the world trying to get their idea out to the world. Basically, we want that to be the go-to place. in addition to obviously selling just your general household items, shopping items, things that you need from day to day. We want to grow it in that way. Now, some people may be wondering, what's the target? You know, how do you get that marketing campaign going? This is the beauty of AI. This is one of the benefits you can get. This is what MPay Go is about. They produce their digital agents inside of there to target any market that we want to target, much better than how humans will do it. So therefore, we can bring people to the market a lot easier nowadays. And if you go online and just tap in making money out of AI, you'll see how much people's making money out of the same thing that I'm talking about right now. This is how it works. So yeah.
So one of the other good things about the platform is that we'll have a section where you guys can learn things. So I know some of you are scared about using crypto and things. So we'll have a blockchain course where you can go on it and learn how blockchain works, how AI works, what the different platforms do. All of this stuff is embedded in this platform. We'll also have fun quizzes, and we're even looking at maybe doing a weekly quiz, guys. So you guys can all kind of join and get involved in a weekly quiz. Then we've got games and stuff on there. So there's a lot. But then the other section, aside from the marketplace, is that we can have content created for them. So content creators can come on and make money, and they can also businesses can get content made for their social media. The other side of this as well is that those products, the companies, product providers, may ask some of the testers to become agents to sell their product full time just because you know the product, you've just finished testing it. So there's lots of different ways that the platform is very beneficial, and it really does tie into our whole ecosystem, because essentially these product testers or product providers, companies, can become products in our marketplace. So it's all a nice loop again. Okay.
Right.
Yes, right. All fits in really nicely with the ecosystem. So so yeah.
I mean, one of the most prominent products that I think we should keep our eye on is the gaming industry. Yeah, keep our eye on that, because more, these games are getting more realistic. So let's bring into the fold now all these robots taking all the jobs, got nothing to do. You're getting government subsidies. Many people will be at home, just getting paid to be at home. Just enough to eat, just enough to do the basics. So they gonna get bored, right? They're living, but they're not living, you know. And so a lot of them's gonna go into virtual reality games to escape. They have to. There'd be no other place to really go. And so therefore, that gaming industry is going to get more realistic, where you'll find that sometimes people probably spend a whole day in there, and that will start becoming their life. Do you know what I mean? More in the game world than actually in the real world, because they got more freedom in the game world. So it's those kind of things I keep my eye on, what the psyche of the humans could be at that time. Or it could be what people say, you know, we have a solar shift of some kind, and everybody kind of wakes up and go, hey, what were we doing all this time? We're human, we can do things better. Okay, fine. I hope that happens too. But let's just plan for the worst. And if the best happens, you know, then we can all share the joy, you know, of having both at hand. Yeah. So yeah, it's great.
Okay.
So
guys, yeah, I've got question number 10, John and Amanda. It's a two-parter, but it relates to the grand prize draw. So, as you know, you guys are going to pick out a winner to get awarded 1,000% token reward based on a token they purchased. Now, does that include? Obviously, it includes everyone that got involved in testing, because it's a reward. That's fine. Are people included that just bought a token or more that related to just being involved in the grand opening? The grand prize draw, sorry, and not testing?
Yeah, no, everybody. So how the deal was is that even if you buy one token, you get to take part in the prize draw.
That's
so
right.
we're sticking to everything we said, guys. We're sticking to. We're not changing any of that. So the 1,000% on the 2 prize draw winners, all of that still sticks. Okay.
Yeah, we've taken out a tooth, but the mouth is still there.
So the second part of the question is: do you know when you're gonna reveal who's won that prize?
We'll more than likely be doing that once we launch this new platform. So hang on tight. I know it's been long, guys, but this was just a surprise to us. Yeah, literally. Yeah, compliance comes when it comes.
But you know what they say, Mervyn? They say that the old saying of you know, the cat in the box, is it dead or is it alive? So, you know, the longer you don't know, the longer you can think it's alive, you know? So
Yeah,
it that way.
there you go.
All
So
right.
guys, as soon as we launch this new platform, we'll do all of that announcing, and those two people will be able to go into their wallets and see their rewards. So all of that will be done there.
Just give us a chance to migrate everything over.
Yeah.
Obviously, Steve's working flat out on this
Mm.
to get this done. It is technical and it isn't something that you can redo easily. A smart contract is something that it either works or you got to make another smart contract. So
Yeah.
we want to make sure we do it properly. And obviously, lock everything in compliantly. That's most important to us because we are going on 4 years now. Obviously, we're due some kind of audit at some point, surely. And we want to make sure everything's done squeaky clean, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well-
obviously, transparency yourself as well. But but come back to the So go ahead.
Yeah, John. I mean that finishes the questions really from the field, really. Not only myself, but people from Thursday and last Monday's call. So hopefully that helps
Lovely.
somewhat. But also, yeah, it's great that we can now extend it to everyone on the call today. That's made it. So guys, wanna
Listen,
break
I
the
want to
rule
see
or-
everyone from V1 and V2 out in these restaurants partying with us. It's tangible. We want to see you guys out here because you'll be making money off this without a shadow of a doubt. Once you get in and on board with this. But the point is that it's not about the money, is it? It's never been about the money, guys. The money's only ever been a vehicle to make you live the life you want to live. So therefore, like I said, let's just take care of the vehicle and everything else will fall in place.
Yeah, focus on what your dreams are,
That's
and
right.
then just use these things that we put in
You-
place to get you there. They're like your vehicle, your car.
You follow the cheese. And
yeah.
it's always been said, why do you think all these things come out saying like, where's my cheese? Follow the cheese. Don't think that the world is made to stay the same. Things that you could invest in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, they are not available now because things change. Things will change again.
Well, as they said, when we moved from horse and cart to cars, what happened to all the buggy whip makers?
Yeah.
There was no need for them anymore. What happened to all the people that were making wheels for carts?
I mean, you
Don't
can,
need
you
them
can-
anymore.
and you can-
Horseshoes.
And you can probably bet your life that the last buggy whip company was the best buggy whip company in the world, and they survived to the last, but it's not here anymore.
Exactly. So even
know?
blacksmiths and horseshoes. So a lot of industries fall along the wayside as things progress. And we are going into a technological world, guys. So the more we can stick into that side of things and stay outside of these regulators while they're regulating everything, we need to let the market settle down a bit.
I think
because this is the biggest shakeup that we have seen in generations when it comes to finances.
I mean, what we've got to recognize as community leaders and, obviously taking care of, making sure that we're looking out for people, because that's the job you want us to do, right? Is making sure that we do it properly. So we have to look throughout history and see what sparks what, to see what situation will be. And give you an example, when the simple printer was invented, that started a 30-year war. Would you believe that? A 30-year war, because now instead of reading the Bible from or the preacher reading the Bible to you in Latin and so forth, and you go to a certain church and so forth, they printed it in English and everybody could read it. Now that changed the world. So as we're going along, the greatest danger is new innovations can bring about war if it shifts too far away from the power structures that are there. So in other words, if there's a power structure that's earning their money and you come with something else that's better for the world, but it takes away their profits, a bit like what's happening today, they're going to fight against it tooth and nail, like the last buggy whip company. And but they will always lose because the world has to move on. But the point is, will they lose within your lifetime? That's what we're trying to figure out. So if we put things in place to make sure that none of those markets can affect us, then that's better. I'm watching all these corporate companies, all these private landlords selling their houses because the government's made it so difficult for them to make a buck if they're small landlords. But who are buying them up? All the corporates, and they're not reselling them. They are renting them. This is happening all over England, and I can see why, because housing prices are going to plummet. But so what they plan to do is obviously live off the rental market. That's what the new thing. So us having these restaurants, renting them out, leasing them out to people is forever lease. Because obviously we're making money from leasing it to the person that we own the land, but now we're leasing that land to somebody, and obviously they're paying us the lease every month. And obviously we're taking a little bit of their profits. So that's generally how it works. So the land would appreciate in value. The business would appreciate in value the more and more branches that we get on board. And obviously the more cash we'll make because we got more branches on board. So, it's a win-win,
Win-win.
definitely.
Mm.
So we build.
Yeah, I want to just ask quickly, Steph. Steph, is there any key questions that you remembered from Thursday at all, or if you've got a question or two before we give Amanda and John a break and then throw it open to the floor?
No, the only thing that pops up in my mind really is someone mentioned whether it was possible to if they invested in one of the franchises and then get somebody else to run it, because I don't think they wanted to do that side of it. They just wanted to know if that was possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, we fully know our market. Most of our market I said our investors, I should say, are armchair investors. We know this. You know, they've done their work in life. They just want something to work for them now without putting too much effort in. So therefore, if they took that route, then what we will do, we will manage the infrastructure. They will pay more, a little bit more, not upfront, but obviously in charges of us getting in the staff for them and making sure that they are trained and so forth. So we're doing that all on their behalf, because obviously anybody they get in has to be trained, yeah, to make sure that the level of service stays the same and sanity stays the same, you know, in that respect. So yeah, they'll just pay a little bit extra to us, like what they would have to do anyway if they were doing it themselves, you know, and we can get that done. I think that's the best way, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, John, Amanda, do you need a break quickly, or do you want to?
No, we're cool. We're fine.
You can go ahead. We can open up the chat and take any
Right.
questions.
Yeah, let's do that, and then we can walk through.
So, guys, I do hope that you kind of get what we're doing and how we need to do this and how we've still created a way for you guys to amplify your cash, because that's what it's about at the end of the day. And this is something, if we all get together like as a real cool group, then it can get done pretty sharpish, because that's the added benefit that John and myself will be starting in the Gambia. We've already made all the inroads. We've got all the contacts. We've got the building team. We understand how it all works here. So it's not a long, drawn out process. We're ready to kind of rock and roll and kind of move.
I should say as well, we've been building these franchises a bit different. It'll be more like the metal structures. Yeah, so they go quite fast indeed. And you know, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
We're looking at Swami.
Yeah,
to put
that's
this together
right.
for us.
That's right. So so as we go on, guys, we'll be giving you more information. On Thursday's call, we're going to do part of the call for you guys to ask your normal questions, but in part of it we'll go a little bit more into the franchise model of things that we're doing. And then as we go along with the Infinity and upgrading to V3, we'll keep you guys informed. We are going to need some testers for the V3 platform, so hopefully I can rely on you guys to get stuck in and test a new platform for us, and that should be available in, I think, approximately 7 days or so. For us to be doing that. I just need to speak to Stephen one more time and find out exactly where we're at. But yeah, so it'd be really appreciated, guys, if you could jump in and just get a bit of testing done for us.
Yeah, I think testing is fun, and I think with obviously the new one that we've got, Test Cell, you know, businesses would appreciate it, because like I said, if it's a one-stop shop to test your stuff and sell it, you know, that's definitely a good USP. And obviously for the ones who are testing, not just earning cash, but also earning, you know, Infinity tokens as well, which obviously gives them discounts on things they buy in our mall. Then basically they're earning twice, aren't they? It's just beautiful, and it still keeps a token, you know, in a utility situation where we can flip it into any dimension that we want to once we have, you know, full clarity on the Clarity Act. I hate saying that, but yeah. Great stuff.
Well, guys, the chat is now open to message John and Amanda directly, or myself and Steph.
Yes.
Personally, if I get a question, I tend to answer it, but I want to appropriately allow John and Amanda to answer it so everyone hears the question and answer. That's my way of working. I want everyone to sort of share the information. So it's now open.
Excellent.
So feel free to jump in. I've got one already, actually.
Perfect. Mr. Cadet, I've got one already. Or Steph, could we put the link to purchase Verizon shares in the chat, please? I've just had a request from someone asking if they can still buy Verizon shares. And yes, there are still a few.
Oh, Miss L, yes, I got that as well. Okay.
Thank you.
We can do that. Steph, you going to put it in, or shall I do it?
No, you carry on doing what you're doing. I'll put it in.
Oh, thank you, Steph.
Thanks, Steph.
All right.
Okay, John, you said you've got a question?
Yeah, Don Amanda.
I don't.
Yeah, it says, hey Merv, can you get Verizon to confirm that with V3, the 10% is of the UVI only or principal plus the UVI?
No, it's a UVI only. So what will happen is that's why we've done 12 months as a minimum. You'll receive whatever you put back into onto the platform within the 10 months, and then the other 2 months is profit on top. So you'll get back whatever was on the platform plus 2 months of profit. That makes you square and a little bit better off. And then, as we said, we keep it moving by using the franchise model, you using the test platform to build up finances, whatever it is. There's some people making some serious money on these test platforms, you know. Some of these people are making all 40 pounds an hour and stuff. It's crazy. But anyway, but yeah, so there's lots of different ways for you to do it. So as we said, it's the UVI.
You see what they say as well is that when people are applying to become a tester, what they should do to earn that £40 an hour is not normally from one company. They split the companies up. So they join a lot of different companies. So that gives me the confidence to say, hey, they will obviously look to be joining our company because they know the more companies they join is the more jobs that they got access to. So that's a good plus in what we're doing here. Yeah. That's obviously everybody outside of V1 and V2. I'm just talking about general customers here now. Yeah, coming on board, want to test things and earn a little bit of cash, earn some tokens and so forth.
And also as well, it's a good platform as well for us to target startups. There are so many startups out there that need feedback and stuff on their idea, new products. It might be a new fashion brand, whatever it is. So it's a really cool place to get involved and get startups involved, just to show the importance of having testing done by the general public before they push a product out there.
And the other things is out of the box things that we thought of as well. Like I said, we like to squeeze every drop out of everything we do, which is basically testing for people who are maybe got a show reel and looking to cast a particular person for a particular movie or something. And they just kind of want public opinion and who suits the role better by looking at their show reels. It could be do the same thing as someone in the entertainment industry, a singer, a rapper of some kind. We also have, UGC, people on board as well, where if somebody wanted to test a particular, let's say, product, but it's a real world product, like an actual physical doll or something, and they wanted, 1,000 people, to sort of test it. They can't send physically 1,000 dolls out to everyone unless they're huge. So therefore, what they can do is sell it to an influencer now who can test it, knowing that influencer's already got a ready-made audience that follows them. So therefore, they're getting a more trusted opinion on, just everyday people rather than just us testing it. They've got even a wider audience they can get to as well by using the influencers.
Also as well, guys, the added bonus is if you are testing real world products, a lot of the time you get to keep it. So you get products for free too, which is really cool. Our daughter's a content creator and she gets products of all different types of stuff from all over the place all the time. So so it's a really cool way to build up all these unique different products, especially when they're new innovations also. So yeah, it's a really nice little business to get into. So any other questions?
Yeah, they're coming through now. So I know you covered it, but here's the question again. So can V1 and V2 still buy tokens?
No, you can't buy. The way the model is now, we can give tokens away for free as a gift, or as a reward, but we can't sell them to you outright. If we do that, we're in trouble, because the way the regulations are now around it. Okay, so but what you do, you earn them. So what happens is now, you will go onto the test cell and basically, you will do, little, tests here and there. Surveys, quizzes, test products and so forth, and you would earn them that way, and then obviously accumulate them that way if you so wish, which now you can use them like discount vouchers to get discounts on anything in our shops and stores or on our Infinity platform and so forth.
Okay, all right. I'll read this one out while I'm trying to interpret it, but it follows on from the first question about principal plus UVI. So the question reads, so following on from that, in V3, is the principal value of the token still there after 12 months should the token be changed back?
Yeah, so what we've done, if you can imagine, the token has what we call an internal value. This is not a street value or market value because, like I said, we can't have it as a token. But so we know what to give you guys out that is equivalent to your 10% UVI that you would have been getting out on the old model. We have to have some point of reference of what you got in your wallet. That's how we do it. So on the back end, we're still valuing it at the 42.50. We're still keeping that value, but it's not a value that goes out there. It's just so we can gauge that if you had certain amount of tokens, this is what 10% you'll be earning from those tokens based upon how much they valued on the 42.50.
If we do go back to the old model, yes, what will happen is the old system will kick back in, or it may need tweaking if we need to kind of tweak it slightly. But yes, what will happen is if we do go back to a point where where we're selling tokens, the price will start at the £42.50. And yes, we will take into account what was in your wallet initially.
Of course.
So all of that thing will kick back in. So what will happen is that this year's payouts would have been like an extra bonus type thing. So yeah.
I mean, the bottom line here is that we know, obviously, it's an inconvenience, for us to have to change at this early stage. It would have been nice if we had a good couple of years run, before that, change. But we also do know, and obviously have to be realistic with the way the market is changing so fast, and we've got to keep up with it, guys. So that's the model for now. But who knows? The model in a few months from now could be completely different. Yeah, for what we can do with that token again. But first and foremost, no matter what happens, we'll always have a utility token, there. No matter what else we fork off into, yeah, we'll always have that utility, the workings of that utility tokens offering, unlocking discounts for the things you purchase. So yeah,
Okay.
I hope that answers it.
Yeah, it does. And there's another question. So to use an example, if a wallet value is 1,000, over 10 months UVI, basically the wallet value would be 2,000. If someone was to remove or withdraw 10% every month, you'd reduce it to nothing after 10 months.
Hold on, let's go back there.
Yeah.
If someone's got a wallet,
Yeah,
oh right, so
doubles,
you're saying with the 10%
it's the way they said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It doubles every 10 months. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So if they were to apply a withdrawal method per month, in 10 months, it'll go from what it is down to zero, basically.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So what the idea was is to use this time to accumulate the tokens. So then not only the UVI will go up, the UVI will go up when the TVI goes up. So in other words, if the token's 42.50 now, but let's say a year from now, the token is now £1. Now your 10% UVI, all the tokens you've got will go up. That's the idea. That's how the TVI and the UVI work together. So it's not like saying you got £100 worth of tokens now. If the price of that token stays the same, that 10% would always be based upon that token price. But if the token price goes up, which is what the TVI did, pushing in value by hitting our roadmaps, then basically now you're getting a higher rate, 10% coming out each and every month. That's how it was originally. But what we're doing, we have to wind this up. Yeah, we have to wind it up. So what we're saying is that we will obviously pay out what we're paying out for a whole year, basically to make sure everybody gets their seed money back at least and something on top. Yeah. But what we've done is put a mechanism here for you not to really do that. That's the whole point why you've had the tokens, so it can keep on accumulating. So that's why we put together the V1 and V2, let's say, circle, let's just call it that. That now will be invested in the franchise models that will keep that finance coming in. And as we build more and more branches, is a higher and higher that your returns will be each and every year. And it's outside of the SEC, it's outside of all these financial bodies that's supposedly there to protect you, or just literally just blocking people every chance they get that comes up with anything that challenges the banks. That's all they do. And so it moves us away from them, giving you real world assets to make sure that we've always got that finance coming in no matter what.
And then what happens is once we get to that end of that 12 months, a franchise will hopefully be picked up and running, which then replaces that 10% UBI coming from us with profits coming from the franchise.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do this in a way where it doesn't cause breaks as well.
That's good.
Right.
So the next question, it says, as a V1 investor, how much of my token cash payout would I need to reinvest to qualify for the franchise?
You can invest what you want. It's totally up to you. We're hoping that you'll keep the vast majority in at least, because the whole idea was to keep it accumulating in value. And if you're going to put it out just to sort of hold it in the bank, it's not going to achieve that. And obviously, it will now obviously depower us. We'll move slower on our end as well. Do you get what I mean? So we're hoping everybody can see the sense in what we're saying and just keep as much as possible in. Take out just what you need. We know sometimes you can get hit with that odd parking bill here and there, but now you've got opportunity to take that out. Do you know what I mean? And obviously take care of those things, but make sure you keep, the core money growing in there as a proper investment. So it's up to you what ratio you want to do it in. I'll let Amanda tell you physically how that will work on the platform.
Yeah, there may be a way that, someone might have a small token holding. And so their contribution to the franchise isn't that much if they're just using their UVI. But what they can do is they can increase that as they go along, which is direct investment into the franchise.
Yeah, it will increase because that's what it does. So if you've got a small holding and only dripping out maybe £20 a month or something at the moment, then obviously that £20 a month is better to drip out into the franchise model, because what will happen is you'll get the equal, or let's say a proportionate percentage equivalent to that. So basically, if you can, we're signing that percentage to everyone that's on the V1 and V2 according to how much tokens that they've purchased to date. Yeah. So if you've got purchased a small amount and it's going into the whole pot, and we're building more and more branches, then that £20 is going to start rising and rising in value, because we're getting more branches out and more money's coming in to give you that higher percentage split.
But that will be a slower model. So you do have the option as well to top that investment up as you're going along. So, you might only be getting, say, £20 or £50 UVI each month. But, and I'm not going to say UVI, rewards for testing. But you might think, okay, I'll put that in, but then I'll also put in £100 on top.
That's right.
So now your investment is 150. So we're going to make it very flexible, but leave it at an entry point where all of you guys can get involved in. That's the point of it. So even if you don't have anything or much coming out, you're still involved, and that will grow over time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another question, guys, or a couple. Hey, Murph, what happens to the principal is the first question.
Right. What happens to the principal? Right. So that is what is being given, being returned to you. So, but at a point of 10% each month, that's what's being returned. And that's why we said it's 12 months. And the reason why we've done 12 months is so that everybody gets their principal back. And then some on top. Now we have left that there might be a way that we might need to extend that even. And so we've given ourselves an option to do that. But we'll wait until we get to that point, because they might release the Clarity Act next month, and in a few months' time we know what we're kind of doing. It might be an inroad for us to get things done, or certain regulation might come out in the next couple of months that will sort of solidify part of what we were doing with the original token, which allows us to instill that again. So it's all a guessing game right now. So what we need to focus on is, right now we have to change the mechanism that's going into the test side of things. So the test cell, the tokens is now a utility reward system that unlocks rewards and discounts for you on all our different platforms, which includes Ticket Dons and the marketplace and Diaspora, whatever it is, wherever Verizon has its products, you'll have access to those things and get a discount. And then literally, once we know what these new regulations are, then we'll be able to give you some more information on what the new token would look like. If we decide to change, we might think that this model is so hunky-dory and it's just going absolutely fabulously well and you're all making money that we don't want to change back to the old thing. So let's take a look and see how it all moves at that point.
Well, the way I see it, like I've said from the beginning, all we've done, we've always said that we're backing the tokens with real world assets. So properties and of the like was always in the mix, properties and land. We haven't taken it out. Now, all we've done is giving you a direct route to invest in that directly now, as opposed to doing it through the token. When you purchase the token, a percentage of that will go into purchasing property and land, as we've always said. But now you're just doing that directly. So nothing's changed in that respect. And obviously we've kept the same equivalent level of what you would have been earning for the, the 10%. by giving you back obviously the principal and obviously something on top, but hoping that you understand what we're saying, and obviously on board what we're saying. I'm sure you understand it. And basically, to keep the money moving, getting into these franchise models, because this to me is the way forward, as we said, for all the reasons I've mentioned before. Yeah.
Okay. The second part.
I mean, what will be absolutely fabulous? Sorry to cut you, Mr. Clare.
Okay.
But what will be fabulous is if we could get, let's say, an average of everyone putting in £200 a month. Do you know that will give us 40,000 a month? Do you know the amount of franchises we can build in that short space of time because of that? Now we're moving. Do you know what I mean? But it's still a smallish amount of, if you're looking at it as an investment, so that's what we're saying, really. But like I said, we didn't want to sort of like strangle anybody with that. But the more we got coming in, is the faster we're moving with that. But it would always be moving.
All right. The second part of the question, or second question, when did the 10% stop being added to accounts?
Right, so that was just recently. So it's anywhere from sort of July. So what we'll be doing is we'll more than likely count in the month of July. But anything from August onwards now, it's stopped. Yeah. So July, you'll get the 10% July, but anything after that it stops now. All right.
Okay.
So let me just clarify, guys. I really need to clarify. This isn't based upon the UVI that has already dripped out of your wallet. It's based upon you've got £2,000 worth of tokens in your wallet. Therefore, your UVI each month is £200. Yeah, that's what it's based upon. Keep that equation in your head. That's what keeps it very simple. All right. So you had £2,000 worth of tokens. Therefore, your 10% UVI each month, that's what you had in your wallet by July. So then therefore, each month we're going to pay you out £200 on that account.
Yeah.
I hope that really makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll do that
It's
for 12 months.
It's pretty straightforward, definitely. But sometimes, hearing it for the first time can sound a bit confusing.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's the equivalent of what you've been getting for the UVI, for the tokens itself. So we kept the equivalent. Well, yeah.
No, yeah, what Amanda made sense, what she covered, because people, I think, are confusing what's being added to what can be taken out in what fashion, because everyone understood, 10% is the increase applied to what you have. But like you say, quite simple. If you've got 1,000 in your your wallet, your account, 10% of that value, all of it, can be taken out per month at the right time. Once you
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, as cash.
As cash.
All right.
No,
As cash.
Yeah.
So that's how that works. And as we get a little bit further, guys, we'll give you a bit more of a peek. I did have the website up, and there is a bit more of a peek into the dashboards of each type of person and what you would be able to see. If we've got a bit of time at the end of at the end of this, we'll bring it up again just so they get a sneak peek at the back end admin systems and the dashboards.
I think it's important to say that when the month comes to open up, basically you do have a window, isn't it? So for when they want to cash out, that small window.
There'll be a button in the back end that allows you to say withdraw.
That's right, because there's 3 different options we can actually use, and so obviously there'll be something there saying you can withdraw, but how much you want to withdraw and how much you want to leave in. So obviously you'll have a window to tell us that, and obviously we'll action whatever you say from then on.
With the question around that, John, actually, the question reads, will V3 be monthly withdrawals with a 30-day cooling off period, or is it just monthly from a certain date?
We're not sure yet. That's one of the first things we said earlier on. We're not sure if it's the monthly or bi-monthly. We're just double checking all of those little mechanics in the back end. All right. So maybe by Wednesday we'll have an answer for that, or by Thursday we'll have an answer for that, where we give a bit more of an update on this whole process.
But whatever the answer is, you will have access to that 10%.
So there's quite a few coming in, guys. When we reinvest into the franchise, will that be an internal process?
Yes, it will be, and we will handle that all ourselves basically, and obviously give you much more information purpose-built Zooms just
Yeah.
for that alone.
So you'll have registration forms and all the rest of that to register, and so we've got you all on a nice list, and we can see who's involved and all the rest of that lovely stuff. So yeah, we'll give you more of an update on Thursday on all of that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. When you start paying us out 10% into our bank accounts, I'm sure that the government will be watching and will want to tax us on this. Will you later give us some education on how to minimize taxes? Well,
Unfortunately, we, due to obviously regulations, we can't give tax advice, as you may be aware. But what I would say, whether we was paying you out in crypto or cash, that tax burden will always be there. What I would say is speak to an accountant, because it does sometimes depend on your personal circumstances. You could have you could be someone speaking to me that's got a company, and there's ways of offsetting tax in there. Or you could be a 9-to-5er, but a particular type of 9-to-5er. Do you know what I mean? On a 0-hour contract, on a full-time employment, whatever. All that makes little differences, for what your accountant would see of how he can probably, get the best deal for you. Let's put it that way. And, but that is definitely accountant. And also it does depend on the region that question's come from as well. I'm not sure if that's from the UK.
Yeah, because there are different forms. Like, for instance, in the UK and the USA, I think it's something like you can earn $600 or so in passive income, and then after that, you need to let the taxman know. I think it's a W9. Don't quote me. I can't remember the last digits of that form, but it's a particular form. So if that is the case, it might be that we have that instilled in our platform, so that when you get to a point of triggering that number, so we stay compliant, anybody in America may need to fill in that W9 form before they can withdraw anything else off the platform. But I'm just looking into the rules and regulations around all of that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was saying. Because obviously they don't want you making too much money off their citizens without paying tax. So that's what that is for. So they've got like a threshold on that. So yeah, but pretty straightforward all the same.
Yeah. Sorry, let me pause there. Steph, do you have any questions? I've got quite a few here to cover, but
I've got a couple. I think they're refreshers or reminders, really.
Sure.
First, on the 10% UVI you unlock from your main token balance for testing, which is converted in your testing, which is converted into fiat paid to your bank. Can you also be paid?
No, it doesn't work that way. So I'll pause that. So let me explain that part properly. You can't convert a token on the model we got now into cash. That's what the whole compliance is about. It doesn't permit you to do that. What we're doing basically is rewarding you in cash for testing. Yeah. So basically just look at it like you've got a job and someone says to you, test this product for me. And you say, right, I want a tenner to do that. They give you a tenner. That's it, cash. There's no in-betweens of that. But at the same time, what we do on the platform is reward you with an Infinity token, that now you can use as a discount from buying stuff in the Infinity Mall.
You can use to unlock discounts, membership discounts.
Yeah, basically. So if something is £100 in Infinity Mall, it would unlock the discount of maybe 10%, whatever the vendor discount rate that he set it at, it would unlock that discount. Once that transaction's done, that token will be burnt. Yeah, so the token no longer exists. You'll get the product, the vendor will get their money. All right. So so it's not converted and then sent to your bank account. It's literally fiat all the way. Yeah. So the company, for instance, will pay us in fiat, to use our platform to test their items. And then once that's done, we will take a percentage of that. That's namely 10% of that to keep the platform running. 90% of that will be distributed amongst all the actual participants that were taking part in that testing. So what will happen is basically they will set a price. They will say, we're prepared to pay you this, to obviously, test, and I need this much people. And obviously we'll put that job note out there. Then obviously those that want to do the testing will sign up to that and get paid that sum. And obviously we'll take our 10% cut from that. So in that respect, you're getting paid from fiat all the way through by doing the testing. So what we're saying initially, now this is the important part, the people on a V1 and V2, we want to keep the equivalent of what we promised them on the UVI, the 10% uplift. Remember, it's just the equivalent. So forget the mechanics behind it. We talk about just the equivalent in sum. Yeah. So therefore, we can't just give that to you because, as the person quite rightly said, that is money laundering. You can't do that. I have to give that to you based upon you doing something for me. Okay. So we've set up little test things that we need ourselves as Verizon to test little, as we've always been doing, testing our sites, new platforms that we come up with and so forth. So now we have a justification of giving you that, that cash sum, which will be equivalent to the 10% UVI. I really, really hope I explained that well because I try my best. But yeah, that's how it initially works. If you want to elaborate on that, Mr. Cadet, maybe make it easy, come from a different angle, you're welcome to do so. But
I think people are maybe all right. So, John, it's all fiat. So tokens are no longer the format. People have cash in accounts, but in terms of the payouts, it is cash. But then at the same time, rewards come their way as well for delivering that service, that testing.
That's right. So the cash comes from the product provider or the company, and then the token as a reward comes from us.
Which unlocks discounts and access to different parts of the platform. So for instance, if that person wanted to do one of our paid courses, to access it, you might need to have one token in your wallet to unlock the system for you to get into the paid courses. Do you see what I mean? So it acts like a key, not as anything of value.
Yeah, it's funny. I picture it like the only difference is that it's task orientated. So I think of token equals task, and that's how you get tokens.
Right.
You cannot buy tokens.
That's right. You cannot buy the tokens.
Yeah.
And we do not sell, we do not pay out anybody in anything like that. You have to earn the tokens. They're rewards for doing tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I won't bother to read the balance of that question because you've covered what the person was asking from the other testing and the company's point. But I've got another two questions from the same person.
Okay.
For those of us who pay £634 a month for 12 months to buy shares in Dellians, what are the projected profits on the shares in pounds sterling?
Well, I put it this way, yeah. Your finances will be going into a pool. That's the whole V1 and V2. So once we work out,
hold on 1 second.
I think I know what he's asking.
Are they asking for if they bought a franchise by themselves or as part of the V1 and V2? Because that's
can we just hear the question again, just in case I've heard it wrong? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't say, but the second question is kind of linked to the Dellians as well. Do you want me to read the second question and then go back to the first?
Yes, please.
Okay. Right. For those of us who pay, for those of us who choose our 10% monthly UVI into Dellians, do we have to draw the money out or can we pay our investments directly from the V3 platform?
Right. So what will happen is essentially we just wouldn't send the cash to you. We just divert it into the account to manage the franchise.
So if you had 630 and you said this month I want to withdraw 100, then we will send you the 100, but we will have the 530 that will go into the franchise at that time. Okay, so that's what I thought. Yeah, he was asking. Okay, great. So yeah, that's what will happen. But I thought he was saying what was I think the second part was what was the return.
Right. So that was based upon the brochure, the original brochure from last week, the full brochure that breaks down the actual franchise model. If someone wanted to buy a franchise for themselves.
Yeah. So on Thursday, we're going to break down the business plan to you step by step, so you can see we're not just plucking figures out of the air. And then basically you'll see what the business plan actually tells you. And this is going through ChatGPT and so forth as well. So as you know, which has the statistics in obviously the markets that we're going into in the Gambia as well. Yeah. So therefore we blended that with that. So once we break that down, then you will see yourself what the earnings should be per branch. Obviously it will fluctuate little bits here and there, but we can get an average earning. And then obviously from there, you'll be able to calculate. I could do it with you on the call. Now, what your 630 will be worth. All right. But I want to break that down properly. I don't want to just throw figures out in the air like that. So hang on for Thursday's call so I can present that properly. And but obviously it will be a return. In that respect, pretty much every quarter there will always be something that you can take out or leave in to accumulate further as well. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steph. So I've
I
got some
have a-
questions.
I have another question, but that will be posed in Wednesday's update.
Okay, right, perfect. Okay, so I've got some questions. Will we see our 10% UVI on the 1st of September? So what will happen is when you log into the new V3 platform, what you will see is you will see a figure where it comes to like your payouts, what your commissions are, your monthly commissions are. You only the V1s and the V2s will be able to see this, and it will say whatever the figure is for their 10% UVI. So as soon as you accept the terms and conditions and you log in, you'll be able to see that figure straight away. You'll know what your 10% each month will be in its cash value. That's what you will see. Okay. So you'll see maybe £200 or £40 or whatever it be in a cash value. And then or is it now frozen? So yeah, that's frozen as we said. So
What's that?
whatever the UVI is, expect the 10% you're going to see in the V3 is comparable to what the 10% is of your wallet value at this point in time. Okay.
Yeah, and it's important to say
So-
is if you look at it as the word frozen, it's only frozen if you don't sort of push it on something else, which is why we
That's
put
right.
the franchises out there. That's when obviously it gets frozen.
It
at
starts
that.
going again.
Because if it keeps on going into the franchise side of things, that starts making money immediately. As soon as you buy land, that increases everything as we go along, as the build goes along. I think by the time we get to our 9th or 10th branch, I think we would really kind of start getting up back to the levels.
And on average, once you've secured the land, with a build like this, or like one of the Delions, you're talking about six months or so. You can push one up. In fact, it might be a lot quicker than that because obviously we've got access to a lot more people on the ground here as well, and shortcuts as well, because of just who you know. So yeah, they can pop up very quickly indeed, guys, which is really cool. So that's that question. And then also, how does the 1x fit in? We're not sure yet. That's what we said last week. We need to look at that again, because obviously the 1x was going to be, we were going to drop Infinity tokens into a wallet and they would just be going up by the 10%. We don't have that mechanism right now, so we have to revisit what we can do with that program.
And you should know we're going to do something, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
But what I would say is that these accounts are free. You don't have to pay to sign up to this. Yeah, so you can get on board. All right, start doing some of the testing. Do you know what I mean? And actually getting paid. You know what I mean? Extra. If you haven't got obviously part of the V1 and V2 and get that rewards or enough of it coming out, you can buffer that up by actually doing the actual testing itself. Do you know what I mean? And obviously getting extra as well.
So doing surveys and all sorts of
so
testing apps for companies.
Let's remember the V1, V2, you'll be testing more for us. Yeah, you're our group, but it doesn't mean you can't on test in general other people's products and services as well to earn extra. So you can start using that, especially if you're home a lot as well. That could be something that could be advantageous to you.
The other thing is as well, you might have a product or a service that you want to put into the marketplace. So that's another thing as well that can go in there. And the marketplace, I just double check, but it should be able to purchase digital and physical goods. So that's another option too. So, but we'll be looking at specifically the 1x once we've just gotten through sorting out this platform here. Obviously, it's very important that we sort out this platform so that we're definitely sitting inside regulations. And then once we've got this solidified and in its place, then we'll be able to see how we can tie things in. The other benefit of this platform, guys, is that MPayGo is the gateway that goes through this. So because Infinity was heavily wrapped into MPayGo, we've had to change how MPayGo works also as well. So there's going to be a delay on us launching MPayGo in the format that we had it in. So what we're going to be using it as right now is the gateway on our platform. Okay, so which is really cool. And then once this Clarity Act comes out, then we'll revisit MPayGo and push it out there. In the state that it's in at the moment with the tokens, we can operate it in places like the Gambia and stuff where they do not have any crypto regulations whatsoever. But so people can use crypto if they want to, because it's just not regulated.
But they wouldn't know anything about it.
Yeah, so it's a free for all out here. It could work out here, but that's a whole new ball game and a new talk.
But the
for now,
fiat,
MPayGo would be. Mhm.
sorry, Amanda, the fiat side of the MPayGo can work as is.
Yeah.
As is, yes, but we'd need to do a lot to strip out a lot of things in there. So we'll keep it as it is for the moment, and we use it as the gateway on our platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I think this model is absolutely fantastic, and the reason is because we're flipping into a world of real world assets that more directly. That's all we've done, and obviously honoring what we've said, with the payouts on the UVI. It's unfortunate that obviously things couldn't stay the way they are. Imagine how we feel. We spend months and months and months putting together a system, building it out, paying to get it built out, and then all of a sudden a new regulation comes in, and then we have to move it around. It's very, very annoying, and it's happened to us quite a few times. And obviously, we just want to get moving. The property side of things is moving well. We don't want to slow that up in any way, shape, or form. In fact, we want to beef it up, and that's why we came with our franchise model, which at the moment is well needed in the Gambia. Even if it's just for a place of entertainment, it's needed.
Okay, so I've got another question here. So thanks for your hard work. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm slow here. Having tokens in the business and property wallets locks me in what now? I think that's supposed to say. Right, so the property wallet.
Hold on. First, I just want to say, you're not slow. We're just speaking a bit too fast, so we'll slow it down for you. Yeah, right. Don't worry.
And I know you might have missed last week's meeting also. So with the property wallets, those that were locked in for the 27 months, nothing changes there. So although it's not doing the 10% UVI, we're going to just, at the end of the 27 months, just take those tokens back, and you still have your property in whichever format you came in or got involved in that. If you used the tokens for your apartment to start kicking in the 50% rental payments, that will all still happen. Okay, so all of those things are still in place. Those are all going to be honored. You just won't be using tokens, yes, but it will be honored on this back end. All right, so just to clarify, those that use the tokens to pay off the remainders for their villas, that all still stands at the end of the 27 months on the old platform, because we still have it there. Those tokens will just be swept and burnt. And you won't really know anything about it. You'll just have your house and you'll be fine. And the same thing with the apartments, all of that stays the same. Business wallets, if you've got a V2 business wallet, then you'll be entitled to the 10% UVI each month that we'll be paying out in cash, to the equivalent of the value of the tokens in your wallet, 10% of the value of the tokens in your wallet now. Okay, so that's what will happen. So I hope that answers the question there.
I have a question.
Okay, fire away.
When and how can those of us who have joined Diaspora Nation continue to pay our monthly membership fees through V3?
Oh yeah, so what's going to happen is that even that platform's being rehashed. Remember, Infinity was tied into all the platforms, and now we're having to untie it. So the V3
it's like having a knot around everything and have to undo each knot.
I tell you guys, if you understand the barrage of work we're doing in the background here,
we're used to it.
But it's good.
This is the day job. Yeah, this is this is every day to us.
So it keeps our minds working. Yeah, so with Diaspora Nation, that's getting a fresh new look as well, and I'll be telling you on Wednesday what that looks like. But you'll be able to you'll be paying your membership fee via Diaspora Nation itself.
You've done a bit of test sale already, I think you say you still do.
Yes, we showed the screenshot, okay. But let me just finish these questions. We've got some more questions coming in, and then at the end we'll give you a little sneak peek of the back end of test cell. So sorry, did we answer that question just now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I have another one. This all sounds fine. So will our 10 months of UVIs that's been accumulated so far be added to our seed money in the business wallet? I'm not sure if I understand that question.
I think I understand. So are you
Well,
asking if it's not just your seed money, but the accumulation as well? I think that's what you're saying. No. So what we're doing, we're giving you part of the accumulations. Unfortunately, only 2 months over the seed money level. But that reason why we're doing that basically is just so we can stay compliant and get literally done with this as quickly as possible. But that's why we've given that the other mechanism in place where you can now use the cash rewards that we're giving you now to keep it growing, in through the franchise circle, let's call it. And so that's the only real mechanism that we've got that keeps it going for that longer. We love to keep the same model. Unfortunately, with the way the regulators are, they are seriously like, brutes. Seriously, they don't play with you. And, we know exactly what will happen if we even did try to keep the model that is without the relevant, I should say, compliant licenses and so forth, which we can apply for. But it'd be a fool's gold if we'd done it now. And then the cloud, when you do it, you're not like paying like 50 quid or, £100. You're paying serious money to get this done. And if the Clarity Act comes out unfavorable, then all that money's down the drain. We have to start again. It doesn't make any sense. Everyone in the industry is waiting. So if we can be patient with us and then obviously help us to get these franchises moving, the more and more branches we build, it will soon get up to that sort of 10% UVI level that we was all looking for and beyond. Because we won't stop building.
Definitely.
I got a question here, guys. Please, can you ask what happens to tokens in Property Wallet for those people that has no property?
That has no property, you said?
That's right, yeah.
Right, so it's obviously that they've put the tokens into a property wallet that weren't supposed to stay in a property wallet. So at that point in time, we'll clarify with you. Obviously it would have had to have gone into a business wallet or any of the other ones. So that will still qualify you for the 10% UVI each month. Yeah.
If there's anything slightly adverse, obviously it might take a little bit longer to sort out your wallet, but let's just get the core of everybody across first of all, and then those little adverse ones that we can take care of. But generally, there's no issue.
So that those will be moved to the equivalent of the having a business wallet or the general wallet, and then whatever that value was, you'll see in your new V3 wallet the 10% equivalent of that value.
Okay, I got another one here, guys. The property plan was to unlock after 27 months, which I understand is still the case. Is there still a 3-day unlock window for 10% of the UVI to be withdrawn at the end of 9 months?
No, all of that is gone.
All that's done.
Because that token that we're using, that fork of that token that we're using is irrelevant now. So what we're saying is whatever you've paid, consider that as the payment for the property. That's it.
That's done.
Yeah, you're finished. Okay. Because we know obviously that, there's going to be other things you're going to engage with and have already engaged with that obviously we really do thank you for. So in that respect, we don't mind doing that. There wasn't that many people on that program where it causes us an issue, put it that way. So we can still build for those that we promised to build for, and we want to keep it the same. We don't like going back on our word severely like that. That is a no-no. So what we want to do, like I said, once again, that's all locked in, all the same. You don't have to worry about the tokens doing the unlock and the reinvestment and lock again. All that is out the window. We're going to simplify all the platforms will obviously state this, but we're just giving you the heads up before we do this. So that way, you know what to expect.
Yeah. So all you need to do is just engage in the new platform, which is, just log into the new V3 platform and just do any little tasks that we have there each month, and then that's it.
Yeah, that doing the task is important. Although it's a very simple thing to do, it's important. It has to be done. Otherwise, like I said, we can't literally pay you if you don't. So because then it will be seen as we're paying you for holding tokens, which now is a security. Yeah, and that will be the issue. It won't no longer be a utility token, it'll be a security. I really hope we explain this as clear as possible.
Yeah, because it is a lot to take in, because it is around compliance and regulation, and it is quite complicated, guys. If we show you the kind of compliance and regulations that we go through to make sure that we stay compliant. A lot of you would be like, oh my God,
Head
are
will
you
spin.
sure? It's crazy. So, and that's why when this happens, we have to revisit all our platforms and make sure they fall in line with the new
Yeah,
regulations.
because that's what I said, the affiliate token, the model we had, it was the spine, was the backbone
That's right.
of obviously funding it through the UVI, increase. But the same thing's happening now, but just without the token. We're
Yeah.
still getting the same increase in real world assets.
That's
But
right. And still with the real world assets, which is brilliant.
that's right.
Excellent. So any
I've
other
got-
questions? I
Yeah.
don't have any more.
I've got a couple, Amanda. So
I
I think
don't have
you
also. Oh,
yeah,
I
you
do.
answered this already.
I-
Oh. Go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, I was just going to add to that. Remember that the utility token has its value in a different way. It unlocks discounts, yes, but it also allows you to come into the club. So if somebody went to an Arena View property, yeah, at a discount rate, they would have to obviously earn the tokens to do that. So therefore, they would have to come in and use the test platform just like anyone else to earn those tokens. And obviously, even by signing up, they can actually earn the tokens or a token for signing up, and obviously to get them on their way. But it gives the tokens more utility, basically, to make sure everyone's using it in unison. So when we flip it into something else, yeah, or fork it, we call it, into something else, the same utility model will be there, but another, forked off model of whatever is beneficial to us. All right, that's why we have to keep it there. All right, until that time comes.
But the option, but John, also the option is to buy property cash as well for Ebony Villas, for example. That's still there, isn't it? Obviously.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a question here, guys, but you answered it earlier. It says the odds seem to be going against the one times program. First, the cards got delayed. Now the Infinity token is changing. Any ideas on how to proceed with 1x? Any time frame?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't look at it as odds, because you are in a community where, definitely things have increased in value. We are looking at, like I said as well, to open like a semi or a pre exchange as well, where people can actually sell some of their shares and so forth. And those shares have gone up in value, quite a bit. I mean, you even heard someone on the call today requesting to buy them. So in that respect, those shares could only be bought from people that own those shares. So even if you was on the 1x and you thought, okay, I'm waiting for that, but bought a few shares, you would have seen the value of that. So I hope you did, in that respect. But what it is that it's not what's going against the 1x per se, it's what the world is doing that just so happens to obviously not include, us giving you the equivalent of your 1x. They are making it hard for us to even give people money without it calling it money laundering. Then on top of that, you've got a lot of the kind of regulations that just makes you feel like, the 1x is the most irrelevant thing at the moment. Do you know what I mean? It makes you just concentrate on trying to get the company into a corporate position where it benefits everyone as a whole. So we're trying to make the 1x fit into that, but if it comes out of sync, it's only temporarily. It's never permanently. But the point is, we're gonna have to give that some thought in respect of how we rebrandish that. I do have a few ideas. I'll share with you in a moment. I'll let Amanda say what she's saying first.
Unfortunately, we're in a time, as we said, where we've never seen such a shake-up in the whole system, not just the financial system, the whole way the world is going to be working. So that's the time we're in. So no, we can't give timelines because it all depends on what these guys are doing with the regulations. So banks have paused, fintechs have paused, everybody is pausing. There are major property companies out there that have paused and they want to get involved in the tokenization, but they can't move until this Clarity Act has come out. So everybody is waiting for this Clarity Act to come out before they make their next moves. And no one knows this yet. It should have been done already. And every time it gets closer, then we keep getting things like, oh no, the floor hasn't made a decision yet. It looks like we're going to have to wait until next month. That's what keeps happening because, as you can imagine, this is a complete overhaul of the financial financial system that's been in place for decades. So that's going to cause a lot of back toing and froing between the banks and the crypto exchanges and all of these different entities. Everybody wants to make sure that their slice of the pie is protected once all these new regulations come out. That's what we're seeing. And so we have to be able to see what the outcome of that is before we can solidify and say, yes, here we go. This is how we're going to move, and this is how the 1X can go out and be sustainable. So we just need to just get this these new compliance all in place. Then once we've done that and we see what our whole model looks like, we may have a solution within what we're doing now to offer to you, but we just need to see that whole picture put in place first, all the tech, and then that will allow us to revisit that.
But to be quite, I think we've got quite a few options we can explore.
Yeah.
We're not, saying that there's no thought pattern behind it. It's just that we don't want to give false hope or false promises. So what's going on behind that scene there is more solidified when all these platforms are sort of like upgraded up, and so forth, and we're steady. Then we now can deliver what we can do within that to earn that 1X, the equivalent of that 1X back. Because there's always something you can do. Trust you me, there is always something. But like I said, that will be forthcoming. I would say give it about a month or so, and you'll be surprised what we come up with, that can sort of like integrate with that. Again, it is unfortunate. I hate setbacks as well, but we do have to recognize that the world is a very volatile place right now, and there's other things that we are doing that is very, very lucrative indeed, that could be jumped upon. And I'll tell you something, I can't think of anything better than property and land right now to ensure that these things can't, nothing can happen to them. Digits on a screen on any kind of platform right now means nothing. Even if it's hard cash money that you've got in your bank, but all you can see is the digits on the screen, even that doesn't mean anything anymore. That can change overnight with bail-ins and so forth. So be very, very careful with that. But hard assets, that's the thing that we can sort of bank on.
Okay. So I've got another question. I wanted to tokens to build an income to use in Africa when I get there. What can I do to maintain this model? That's what the franchise
That's what the
model
franchise is for. It keeps them building. It keeps them building for you in that respect, and in a respect that it can actually pay you out quarterly. That's what we want to do.
It can also even give you a business to run when you get out here with an apartment on top of
That's
it. One of
right.
those. So you've got options, more options, but that's what we put that model in place for, so it can replace an income. So you can either just get involved with just putting your UVI into that, and as we build more and more and more, your percentage of the 50% profit share gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So now you've got a lovely income just for using this year's worth of UVI.
I mean, even with
into this franchise model, and then what will happen is as we pop them up, that will start paying you out, which can go back into building more and more and more and more, and then that's just building you up bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's a simple step-by-step model that will work, because the difference between the two is that the real world assets is in original token version will keep the price of the token obviously going up by the 10% UVI, and obviously lifting the TVI as well once we hit our landmarks. Great model, brilliant model, if I say so myself. But the point is that this here now does the same thing in a respect, because it still rises. It's not just one restaurant and then you're earning just from one. We're increasing the number of restaurants, so therefore now as we do that, your earnings will keep on going up and up and up accordingly, without the chance of something happening in the world of regulations, let's call it, to kind of take that down. Who's going to stop someone from serving food in a restaurant? It's standard. But what we've got behind that isn't just the profits from the restaurant. Remember, the land, we own the land, so the profits of the land is going up. That means we can raise more funding much more quickly to pop up more branches. We don't not just rely upon the profits from those first few. We're relying upon the amount that we can raise in loans and so forth to get that done faster, and then speed dial it basically, while still keeping our reserves intact coming in. So you'll be surprised of how quickly we can jump from one to the other, and increase that income, more suddenly. So,
And then as it becomes a recognized brand as well, all of that increases
that's right.
the status of the company, which starts making people start to look at it and think, hey, that's a growing business. Let me invest in that. Let me get involved in getting some franchises up. And that just pushes up the value all the time because more and more people will start to frequent it. And then that means we can start pushing it out into outside of, well, across Africa and then outside of Africa as well. Some even simultaneously, as John said, if you raise finance against it, then you can start popping them up in America and in the West Indies and in the UK and
quite
and that's
quickly.
it.
This isn't.
And you're earning off all of it.
Yeah, it's
I've
not.
got
It's
a
not a
link.
laborious thing.
I've got a linked
Yeah.
question actually, guys. Just saying, it says, considering you're working on building houses in the Gambia, how soon are you planning to start building the restaurants for the franchise?
Well, as soon as quickly as possible. We're already looking for land for that. We've got some prospects for that because remember the land for this, we're talking like maximum 50 by 50. Even 25 by 25 is a good size.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? That we can build from. So from 25 to 50 by 50, it's perfect. So long as it's on the roadside. And there is huge amounts of roadside land out here. The hardest thing we find is finding who the owners are. So sometimes you've got to wait to speak to someone who knows someone, as opposed to just going on a land registry and contacting the person yourself. So that's what the delays will be, if there's any at all. There's one piece of land we're looking for right by where our office is. If you all remember, for those of you that can, that you've seen where we're going to put the office near our sign, on CFO, you'll see there's a grey wall behind where we're going to put the office. The whole of that land behind there is kind of the size we need. So we're trying to inquire who owns that land. So we found out who used to own it, but that person sold it to someone else that we can't find a trace straight away. So those are the kind of things that can delay things. Unfortunately, it'll be a lot faster in the West, but this is not the West. So yeah, but you'll find that there's huge amounts of roadside land that people obviously don't mind making a buck or two off. I won't announce it either. It's like, yeah, we're going to put this great and fabulous thing there. No, I'll just be like, we're putting a little eatery and just leave it like that. So that way we know we get the land at the right prices, and just little tricks like that. So it doesn't take long to really start accumulating them because they'd be more metal framed as well. So they will have a particular price point that's price point will go down significantly and the build time will go down as well. It's almost like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. They're all the same. They haven't got their individual personalities. They're all the same outfit. If we change the look, we change it for all the branches, just like what the corporates do. So it's quite a fast model. And like I said, we do have enough to kickstart things off, so yeah, it could be quite fast.
I've got another question here, guys. Will the current Infinity Mall accounts still be available alongside V3 for a while, or will they cease once V3 starts?
Right, so those accounts are already in suspension. Once you flip over into V3, so what's going to happen is there's a time period, and let me just get this correctly. It might be, I think it is the 1st of Jan that everybody will have the opportunity to switch over to V3. Just by going in, logging into their account and reading the new terms and conditions and then clicking to swap over. So we're going to give everybody a chance to do that. And let me just I'm trying to work out all, because it's a whole model. I can't remember what we've suggested when it gets to that end. I think we're going to contact anybody that's sort of outstanding and find out what they want to do, because it could be any reason why they haven't sort of logged on and moved over. It could be ill, could be away, just didn't see anything. So the majority, we know that we'll just click the button and switch over. And for those that don't, we'll contact them individually.
Sure.
That's the one.
Amanda, you mentioned a date. What date was that again?
I think it's going to be around the 1st of January, if I can remember correctly. We've given them a 3-month period to switch over.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent.
Right.
But even if the V2 platform is still live, they can log in, but you can't buy tokens, you can't do anything. It won't be a functioning platform.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a second question from the same person. Is BCL still around is BCL still involved in the 1X, as we have not heard a word from them?
Extremely and fantastically put. And what I would say, basically, how we've started out was basically that they will be, engaging with everyone to kind of update them and so forth. Yes, there have been delays, but it will still be just manageable, I will say, to just update everybody here and there, which hasn't been done. And basically, we understand that when certain things happen in life that really has given someone a hard time, people do tend to want to just stay away from it as much as possible. And I see a bit of that happening here. I have to be, honest truth, because I don't see any reason why we can't say, guys, we're still on it. We're still looking for solutions because, there are other things out there that people have joined that has made money for them, that has kind of inadvertently paid them back, the equivalent of their 1x and beyond. But it's to get the trustability to know that someone is always there, no matter what, good times or bad times, you're there, day and night. That's the image I want to give. And that's the kind of person I am. And I'm so sorry that, I'm not hearing the same feedback from those who are dealing with the BC lifestyle. I know they have their challenges. I know they're great people, not knocking anyone. I know it was very, very rough for them, what happened. And, but I do honestly believe that some kind of, talk, would have been really, really beneficial to at least console those that are, out of pocket and that trusted, that things will go well. Like I said, the only thing you'll ever get, myself and Amanda, is that we may have to snake into different things. That is business. Any corporate film you dare to go and watch today, you'll see exactly the same thing happening. Sales companies, marketing companies have to change their strategies, have to do this, have to do that. If you don't move like that, you're not in business and you don't know what business is about. That is the truth. So therefore, explain that to a community sometimes is very tough because they don't used to hearing that, because they're used to getting scammed products that offer you the world that it can't sustain. But they think, well, it doesn't sound right if you start saying, let's build something worth building over the years it needs to take to build it. So that way we can ensure that we're there from the beginning and we're getting the maximum benefits out of it. Unfortunately, a lot of community members don't have that kind of patience like what investors will have. But we're trying our best to make sure that people understand that we're here every single week. You can get hold of us anytime. You must all know at least that about us. If there's good news or bad news, we're here to share it. And we've had both. Yes. So I think the way forward that we're going right now is brilliant. Even when we put this business model into ChatGPT, it actually congratulated us, thought it was such a great idea. I didn't expect it to say that, but it did. And, Stephen's team has run it by his corporate team. They think that's the best way to go, considering what's happening in the market and so forth. We're in a state of war, for goodness sake. Iran is bombing, the Middle East. Don't know how fast that's going to play out. Russia's bombing,
Right.
it just goes on and on. I mean, who isn't warring right now? And then the financial market is a complete mess. You don't know if people are going to go the BRICS way or if they're going to go the US dollar way or the XRP way. We don't know. Even the stock market doesn't know. Everything's up in the air. So, it is hard for me to say that, I know what's going to happen in the future on everything and how we're going to branch into things. But I can tell you one thing, I will be here. Yeah, I will be here. Yeah, and that's what I can honestly say between me and unfortunately the BC lifestyles community, that's where we differ. Yeah. So but like I said, I try not to disrespect anyone, but I really do think that some kind of communication was in order there. All right.
I've got just one more comment from someone. Please tell JNA 100% kudos for their speedy reactions to the bloody authorities, although maybe bloody.
Well,
Sorry, did you get all that?
Listen.
I didn't, Merv.
Sorry,
guys...
let me say it again. I said it quite quick. It says, please tell JNA 100% kudos for their speedy reactions to the bloody authorities, although maybe miss out the bloody.
I think the bloody is welcomed.
I think so.
And it's definitely welcomed. And it is bloody. People are dying over this. I mean, we laugh on this, but people's worlds are getting completely ruined by the way.
Listen, any time a system comes in where the general public can make serious money, these people jump in and put their big feet in there. And that's why it's so important to keep your ear to the ground so you spot all these little gems that are out there before the authorities kind of say, hey, what's going on over there? All these peasants are making money, you know.
And I did want to say something else to the person that asked about the 1X, but I didn't want to sound like I'm being horrible or anything. I hope I don't. I'll just give you this. We started to renovate a venue from 2018 up to 2020. The day of our largest event was the exact day of lockdown. That's our 1X story. £500,000 down the drain and all the time and effort, you know, due to my son being ill and all sorts. Yeah. Then we started our own, you know, Visa cards. We opened in November. It was locked down by January with new regulations. Yeah. So once again, that took our partnering bank out. So that's my 2X now going after us paying out a lot of money for it. Then we went to the Optimus banks with some fraudulent reasons saying that, you know, obviously they're gonna, revoke the contract based upon some stuff that we don't even understand, which we believe come down to the Mr. Heck, scenario. So that's my 3X. Now we're into this thing and we have to change again. So don't think you're the only one, honestly, waiting for things. Sometimes it's the way the business goes. Yes, don't worry. It's not saying things ain't coming. Just know that I'm waiting too, on other things to mature as well. And every day we're not just waiting, but we're actually running every day while we're waiting as well with other things.
So what we're actually doing is we're being able to pivot and move with the current. So sometimes the water's nice and calm, and then sometimes we hit some rapids. Just know that we're being able to navigate those and get back into the calm waters. And once everything settles down, because it has to settle down, guys, because there are way too many corporates waiting for this Clarity Act to come through, for it to just sit there on the shelf. Something is going to have to happen for these people to start moving. Otherwise, it's going to be serious noise in America and all around the world. So once that kicks in, then we can look at everything again, even with this franchise model. And if we can bring back Infinity, then it all works as real world assets to back up the token again. So it might not be that Infinity comes back around by, the 10% UVI and stuff, but it may come back around as the real world asset part, and it all hooks in again. So there's different ways that we can do this, guys, but just know that we will never sort of sit still and give up. That's not what we do. Even after John said, the day of our largest event, the venue was locked down after spending $500,000 and 2 years of our lives renovating. That didn't stop us. Within, the next day, we were like, okay, what we're going to do? Let's reinvent this. And during the lockdown, we made loads, a lot more than we would have if we'd had the venue, if we were working the venue. So it's a case of, I'm going to say it, as John said, the where's my cheese? That story is so prevalent and it is very deep, and people really need to go online and really watch that video again. Where's my cheese? Don't sit around waiting for the cheese to reappear where it was beforehand. There is other cheese in other places. Go and look for the new pieces of cheese, because you miss out on so much along the way that you sit there waiting for the cheese to reappear, and you never know if it is going to. But I tell you something now, with being with us on this side, we will ensure that something happens.
But I tell you what, it always reminds me of the movie, guys, of what was it, World War Z? Yeah, World War Z. And there's a part where he was hiding in a flat with a family, and he said to the family, look, come out with us, we're going to go to the helicopter. And the family said, no, they're not coming. And he said, listen, in my profession, those who don't move, they die. Do you know what I mean? And quite rightly, the zombies came and, took him because he didn't follow the guy. And that's how it is in real life. I know it's a simple, explanation, but that's how it is. If you don't move, you become extinct. Blockbusters didn't move. Look at them now. Woolworths didn't move. Look at them now. All these great corporations that was there in the 70s, 80s, 90s, that seem to be there forever. Look at them now, all in the bin. And that's because they're the ones that didn't move. Now you look at the ones that did move, then you see they're still there. you know, and like I said, you can see the financial system, the banks, they're always there. So we have to get into that corporate system, but we need for it to settle down. We need to know what the regulations are before we start spending to go in there again and then get wrong-footed again with what we expect they're going to do. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got one more question here. This is the lady that asks about how she can keep the model to move to Africa. She says, so will we need to say each month, put it in the franchise or just leave it in the company? Right. So what will happen is that each month, if you decide that you want to get involved in the franchise, what you can do is initially when we open, you could say, right, I just want to put everything into the franchise. I'm for the 12 months, I don't want to be bothered. But at that same point in time, you still have the option to go back in. If say month 10, you need access to your funds, you can still go into the platform and click withdraw and tell us the amount that you want to withdraw. So that option is there. So you can tell us sweepingly, no, I want to put it all into the franchise and that will happen. Or you can say, I want to put 100, I want to take out £100 and put the rest into the franchise. That can happen. So it's all based upon the instructions that you give us once we put out the little form for you guys to put out to get involved in that if you do want to.
Yeah, and it works exactly the same, like I said, you know, and it's a building model. I think it makes sense for you to put all of it in for at least a while, because especially if you start off with a small amount, because you want it time to grow. But at the same time, as you always know, you'll see the real world videos of us building. So it will give you confidence that it is growing. And obviously, as soon as that restaurant's open, you know, whatever profits we're taking in there, net profits 50% get split between us and yourselves. And you know, and that's will, you know, to be split amongst all the, you know, the V1 and V2 that's involved in this. And that will continue to grow and grow and grow, simply because obviously, you know, the model works. You know, it can't stop based upon people not wanting to eat any longer. You know, it can't stop even if there's a world war. You know, it has more chance of keeping things going without the interruptions that we've been getting from the finance. I hope you do agree. Like I said, all we've done was just taken out the token element of it and it's made it more of the direct sort of investments. And I think that's great, but still keeping, you know, obviously your seed money intact with a little bit of profit on top to start it off, to kickstart it off. So if you help us in that way, then we can keep everything on track as we just said, but also give you the benefit now of maybe even getting one of these franchises yourself, if you so wish, or investing further or deeper into, you know, some of them to get more returns more quicker if that's what you want to do as well. That's what I would do, to be honest with you. You know, I would see it as well, you know, is it a restaurant? Are we going to make nothing? I doubt that very much. I think that the world's ready for this. Gambia is definitely ready for it. There's a lot of vegan food and vegetarian food being sold. We won't make it in a way where it's just, you know, just eating salads. Obviously, it'll be like burger style foods, falafel balls, you know, like sort of like your hot dog sort of burgers as well. You know, falafels, I just
This meeting is being recorded.
Nothing more.
Neither my side.
Well, I hope we've done it justice, guys. I really, really do. I really think you'll see the benefit in this. And be glad that you was part of this in years to come. This is going to spread not just in the Gambia, but across Ghana too, and wherever else we build. Because it doesn't need that massive piece of land to start it. It just needs a reasonable piece of land by the roadside. And you know, like I said, you know, I can't see anybody interrupting that. In fact, a country will welcome that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when we go to Ghana, well, we'll keep our eyes peeled out there also. We should be hitting out there very soon too. So yeah. So what we'll be doing, guys, is late in the UK. What we'll be doing is on Thursday, Mr. Cadet and Steph's call.
We'll be breaking down
we'll
the
be
franchise.
breaking down well, John and myself will be joining that call as well, just to give you guys a bit more context as to what's happening again. So you can take it in bite-sized chunks. We'll also be putting out this recording, so you can listen to it all again. Get your hot chocolate and the slippers out, and you can listen to it again, so you can really sort of hear the information twice, because it is a lot, and we do understand that. But just basic, just keep it basic. Forget how the tokens used to run. At the moment now, they are used for unlocking rewards on all our platforms and inside this test cell platform. You're able to boost that 10% UVI that you've got the equivalent of that coming out by joining into the new free feed platform and taking part in testing and getting paid for doing that. And then obviously, you can use the UBI to get involved in the franchises. That's the basics. That keeps the token, or the promise that we had, still in kind of tact, where we're still amplifying your funds, which is absolutely great. And it's in a system where literally there's no real fuss. People need to sell properties. They can't tell you can't build, all the rest of that. So it's in a system that is pretty stable. No one's looking to regulate that right now. So all good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So I think we've kept everybody long enough for a Monday night, and we do appreciate you all turning up, and we hope we answered your questions. As we said, we've got the Wednesday call where we'll be giving the update. We won't really go too much into the Infinity side of things, this side of things on the Wednesday call, just because this is for Infinity token holders. But Wednesday, we will go a little bit more into it for you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. So, Mr. Cadet,
Okay.
Steph, thank you ever so much for hosting this special call this evening. Oh, thank you, guys. And to all of you on the call, thank you ever so much once again for sitting and listening and for your patience. We really do appreciate that. Okay.
Excellent.
So, all right.
Love you guys. And
So-
yeah, like I said, I hope we've done justice in the way we've explained it, but we'll keep on doing that until everybody's absolutely clear. I did like the way we've done the question and answer with ourselves, with Mr. Cadet, first of all.
Yeah.
You know, I like the way it was done. It felt like we were being questioned properly. And I want everybody to hear us being questioned properly to make sure they in the confidence that we know what we're actually talking about. So in that respect, once again, we're gone. But we'll be straight back to work now.
Yeah, lots of work to do.
We're just on it 24 hours a day, guys. We really are. So no doubt we'll make a success of it. And we thank you all once again for coming on board and taking your time with us. Merv and Steph, great once over again. And we'll do the same thing again on Wednesday.
So you can all unmute and say good night. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Guys.
Guys.
Good night, everybody.
John Orlando.
Good
Good night, Steph and Merv. Thank
Yeah,
you.
good
Good night,
night.
John.
Thank
Good night, Wanda.
Good night, Wanda.
Good night, John. Boy.
Bye.
Good
Goodbye,
night,
Willy, Willy.
everybody.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Doodly goodbye.
Kathy, please.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, Mary Lou.
Good night.
Night,
Night, John boy.
See you in 48.
Oh, good night, John boy.